Chapter 50-15. The cultivator lowered his head to look at his chest, his face full of disbelief. He could not believe that he was so easily injured. Lin Feng looked at him in surprise. Under normal circumstances, once the sun-slaying divine arrow pierced through the body, the cultivator basically had no chance of survival. The sun-slaying divine arrow's power was too terrifying. When it pierced through the cultivator's body, it had already destroyed all the vitality in the cultivator's body. Therefore, the cultivator would die instantly. However, this cultivator did not die. Lin Feng could feel that the vitality in his body was still very strong. This person's vitality was too tenacious. Lin Feng looked at the cultivator mockingly and said, "Now you know who's the idiot, right? I'm calling you an idiot. You don't have any objections, do you?" The cultivator was filled with hatred. After being injured by Lin Feng to this extent, and being mocked by Lin Feng, he hated Lin Feng to the core. However, his current situation was worse. Although he could not wait to cut Lin Feng into pieces, this was not the time to deal with Lin Feng. The cultivator took out a jade talisman and crushed it. Swoosh! In the next moment, he disappeared into thin air. When he reappeared, he was already 1,000 meters away. Then, the cultivator quickly flew into the distance, trying to escape. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. When he saw the cultivator running away, he could not help but smile coldly. He held the Hou-Yi bow in his left hand and the sun-slaying divine arrow in his right. Then, he pulled the bow and shot the arrow. Swoosh! The sun-slaying divine arrow shot out with lightning-like speed and it quickly caught up to the cultivator. The cultivator was now seriously injured, so he did not dare to take the sun-slaying divine arrow's power head-on. When he saw the sun-slaying divine arrow shooting toward him, he quickly summoned a shield. The shield was a powerful defensive treasure. He wanted to use the shield to block the sun-slaying divine arrow's attack, but his current situation was very bad. Therefore, in his current state, it was unrealistic for him to fully unleash the shield's power. He had only activated a portion of the shield's power. However, this was not enough to block the attack of the sun-slaying divine arrow. The sun-slaying divine arrow pierced through the shield. Puff! In the next moment, with a tearing sound, the cultivator's body was pierced by the sun-slaying divine arrow again. "I can't accept this!" He let out a blood-curdling scream and fell from the sky. Lin Feng and Ling Zishi quickly flew towards that cultivator. When they arrived at his side, they discovered that he was already dead. Lin Feng put away his storage ring, Hou-Yi's bow, and sun-slaying divine arrows. He and Ling Zishi didn't stay any longer. They quickly flew off into the distance. After Lin Feng and Ling Zishi left, a grayish-brown energy overflowed from the corpse. The grayish-brown energy began to twist and turn into a soul. If Lin Feng was here, he would be very surprised. This was because Lin Feng sensed that this guy's soul had been shattered. But who would have thought that this guy would use some special means to deceive Lin Feng? "Why is this happening? Why is this happening? My body! My body!" the soul roared. His physical body had been destroyed. If he hadn't cultivated some powerful secret technique, his soul would have been destroyed as well. Once a cultivator lost his physical body, it would be a disaster. He naturally knew this very well. So now, the cultivator was on the verge of madness. He only had one thought now, and that was to find a way to kill Feng. "Little bastard, I won't let you go!" the soul roared angrily. Then, it chose a direction and flew quickly. Lin Feng naturally didn't know that the guy's soul was still alive. At this moment, he and Ling Zishi stopped in an oasis in the desert. Lin Feng took out the storage ring he obtained from the cultivator. Then, he sent his divine sense into the storage ring and carefully sensed its contents. There were many kinds of things in the storage ring, and there were even 3 true immortal artifacts. Lin Feng found a book among them. He took it out and started reading. "Forgotten City!" Lin Feng found 4 words written on the book. After browsing for a while, Lin Feng found out that there was a forgotten city in this desert. It was an ancient city that had been forgotten by the cultivators of the outside world. In the city lived the cultivators of the Devil's Sand clan. The Devil's Sand clan was an extremely ancient clan. It was said that they had been exterminated in an era before the primordial age. But in reality, this clan hadn't been exterminated. Instead, they were hidden in the ancient demon desert. The cultivator from before was from the Devil's Sand clan. Lin Feng handed the book to Ling Zishi. She read it with great interest. She said, "I've heard of this Devil's Sand clan before. It's said that their methods are extremely strange. They are the royalty of the desert. No wonder that guy could control the sand in the desert to form an extremely powerful sandstorm. This person is from the Devil's Sand clan. It's not strange that he can do this." Lin Feng nodded. He and Ling Zishi rested for a while before continuing their journey. They continued to look for a place where the magnetic field was weaker. What Lin Feng and Ling Zishi didn't expect was that along the way, they saw more than 30 cultivators besieging 5 demon race cultivators. Lin Feng didn't recognize those demon race cultivators. However, Lin Feng knew who those cultivators besieging the demon race cultivators were. Among those people, some were from the Immortal Heaven sect. Lin Feng recognized their attire. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. The Immortal Heaven sect and the other 4 major immortal sects had entered the ancient demon desert because they were chasing after Little Rock King. Could it be that those besieged were Little Rock King's companions? Lin Feng felt that it was possible. "Let's go and save those people," Lin Feng said. Hearing that they were going to save people, Ling Zishi became excited. Her delicate and beautiful face flushed red. She shouted, "You don't have to do anything later. I'll do it myself. I'll show you how powerful I am." Hearing Ling Zishi's words, Lin Feng couldn't help but smile bitterly. Ling Zishi was lively and had a strong desire to show off. She really couldn't stay still for a moment. "All right. I'll leave those people for you to deal with. If you can't handle them, I'll do it again," Lin Feng said. Ling Zishi snorted. "Why can't I handle them? I'm powerful. If you dare to underestimate me, I'll beat you to death." Lin Feng smiled and didn't refute Ling Zishi. He and Ling Zishi quickly flew towards the battle. Chapter 50-16. The besieged demon race cultivators consisted of 3 males and 2 females. The 5 of them were not particularly old, and had cultivated for around 20 to 30,000 years. To the cultivators of the Undying Realm, 20 to 30,000 years was still considered a young generation of cultivators. It was just like how the cultivators of the 9 continents referred to cultivators below 3,000 years as young cultivators. This was because the cultivators of the Undying Realm belonged to a higher plane of existence. They had more powerful cultivators and higher cultivation realms. Their lifespans were also longer. Therefore, when it came to defining the younger generation of cultivators, it was naturally different from the mortal realm. As the cultivators of the Immortal Heaven sect and the other forces surrounded the 5 demon race cultivators, they laughed evilly. Obviously, their laughter was directed at the 2 female cultivators of the demon race. Of the 2 female cultivators of the demon race, the female cultivator in the blue dress looked noble and elegant with an outstanding temperament. The female cultivator in the red leather dress was sexy and enchanting. Her pair of long legs were exposed, and she was really mesmerizing. Surrounding these 2 beauties in the ancient demon desert, the cultivators of the Immortal Heaven sect definitely had some evil thoughts in their minds. In the outside world, they might say that they were righteous sects and immortal Tao sects. Although they were enemies with the demon race, they would at most kill the cultivators of the demon race, and not taint the female cultivators of the demon race. However, in this desolate place, they could do whatever they wanted. Therefore, the evil thoughts in their hearts were completely unleashed. The 5 demon race cultivators were quite powerful. However, they were outnumbered. Therefore, even though they were able to resist the attacks of the Immortal Heaven sect cultivators for the time being, they were not in a good situation. Perhaps they would not be able to hold on for much longer. "Fairies, we'll let you know how powerful we are later," one of the cultivators from the Immortal Heaven sect chuckled as he glared at the 2 female cultivators of the demon race. His words were even more perverted than ever. The two female cultivators of the demon race had already used up a lot of their spiritual powers. Therefore, at this moment, their faces were extremely pale. After hearing the filthy words of the Immortal Heaven sect cultivator, their faces turned even paler. The 5 demon race cultivators did not try to negotiate with the cultivators surrounding them. This was because they knew that both parties would not rest until one of them was dead. There was definitely no possibility of negotiation. If the other party really agreed to negotiate, there would be something fishy going on. They tried to break out of the encirclement but failed. The situation was getting worse for them. Ha ha ha, you can't escape. After we kill those 3 fellas, no one will disturb us. Another cultivator laughed. What a shameless fellow! He actually has the gall to call himself a cultivator from an immortal Dao sect? Since when has an immortal Dao sect fallen to such a state? Just then, a voice rang out. It was Leng Zishi, who had just flown over from afar. She was scolding the cultivators of the Immortal Heaven sect and the other immortal sects. These people were indeed very shameless. It was no wonder that Leng Zishi would scold them. Leng Zishi was someone who abhorred evil. If she didn't scold them, she wouldn't be Leng Zishi. Yo, another top-quality beauty has come. Brothers, the heavens have treated us well. If this was the outside world, we wouldn't have a share of such top-quality beauties. But now, 3 top-quality beauties have appeared here, a cultivator said excitedly after seeing Immortal Dao of the Immortal Heaven sect. Hee, I'll go catch that girl, a skinny cultivator said. As soon as he finished speaking, that cultivator quickly flew towards Immortal Dao of the Immortal Heaven sect. Lin Zishi and Lin Feng were at the same time. That cultivator was wearing the clothes of the Immortal War sect. He should be a cultivator of the Immortal War sect. Both of you leave quickly. Otherwise, you will be implicated, a demon race cultivator in a green robe said in a deep voice. They did not want to drag Lin Feng and Immortal Dao of the Immortal Heaven sect down with them. Hee, we like to fight for justice, Immortal Dao of the Immortal Heaven sect said with a smile. Little girl, you like to fight for justice? I like to fight for justice too. Let's fight for 300 rounds later, the skinny cultivator from the Immortal War sect said with a smile. There was a hidden meaning in this guy's words. Immortal Dao of the Immortal Heaven sect. Leng Zishi was smart. How could she not understand what this cultivator meant by fight for 300 rounds? Immortal Dao of the Immortal Heaven sect, Leng Zishi said with a cold smile. Who do you think you are? You actually dare to have improper thoughts about me? Are you blind? Immortal Dao of the Immortal Heaven sect, you're really tasty. Big Brother likes to train such tasty beauties like you. The cultivator from the Immortal War sect did not care about what Immortal Dao of the Immortal War sect said. He continued to speak in an evil tone. His evil eyes were fixed on Immortal Dao of the Immortal War sect. Go to hell and play with your ancestors, Immortal Dao of the Immortal Heaven sect. With a wave of her jade-like hand, a golden scissor-like magic treasure flew out. Lin Feng knew that this was a powerful magic treasure called the Golden Flood Dragon Scissors. It was a top-notch treasure from the era of the conferred gods. Although the treasure that Ling Zishi took out was not the Golden Flood Dragon Scissors, its power was incomparably terrifying. This little girl had quite a few magic treasures on her. Lin Feng had guessed that Ling Zishi had an extraordinary background, but it was not the kind of background that Ling Zishi had described. I'm going to cut you in half, Ling Zishi shouted loudly. The scissors' magic treasure quickly flew towards the cultivator from the Immortal War sect. The cultivator from the Immortal War sect laughed strangely, and slashed at Ling Zishi's scissors' magic treasure with his huge sword. However, Ling Zishi's scissors' magic treasure directly cut at his huge sword. Gotcha! The huge sword was directly cut in half by Ling Zishi's scissors' magic treasure. After seeing how powerful that treasure was, Lin Feng did not find it strange. Ling Zishi could always take out many strange and powerful magic treasures. In the next moment, the scissors' magic treasure cut off the head of the cultivator from the Immortal War sect. Don't be so violent, okay? Lin Feng said. Hee, this is violent? I haven't cut this guy into 18 pieces yet. Ling Zishi said with a smile. Little girl, your magic treasure is quite powerful. Later, we will take both the person and the money. An expert from the Immortal Heaven sect quickly flew over with 4 cultivators, and then said with a smile, Why don't you go home and take care of your mother? Ling Zishi scolded. Hearing Ling Zishi's harsh words, the Immortal Heaven sect cultivator's face could not help but turn gloomy. He sneered and said, You don't know what's good for you. Later, I will make you kneel on the ground and sing conquer. The speed of this cultivator and the other 4 cultivators was very fast. In the blink of an eye, they had already rushed to Ling Zishi's side and surrounded Ling Zishi. Lin Feng stood tens of meters away and watched the show. He looked at this group of people with a gloating expression, especially the cultivator in the lead. This guy actually dared to anger Ling Zishi. He must be tired of living. Chapter 50-17. Scissors, you bastards! Ling Zishi suddenly shouted. Then, she manipulated her scissors Dharma treasure and attacked the 5 cultivators surrounding her. The scissors Dharma treasure actually split into 5 and quickly flew toward the 5 cultivators. Lin Feng was shocked. The scissors Dharma treasure could actually split into multiple parts. What kind of ability was this? Or could it be that the scissors were formed by fusing many parts together? Lin Feng was not very clear about the specific situation, but he could imagine that the scissors were definitely extraordinary. Under Ling Zishi's control, the 5 scissors instantly flew in front of the 5 cultivators, and then cut toward them. The 5 cultivators' expressions changed slightly. They originally wanted to besiege Ling Zishi, but who would have thought that Ling Zishi's Dharma treasure would split into 5 parts and attack the 5 of them separately? This situation caught them off guard. The cultivators quickly urged their Dharma treasures to block the scissors' attack, but the scissors were too powerful. They directly cut the 5 cultivators' Dharma treasures and then cut off their heads. Ling Zishi killed 6 experts in succession, and immediately looked at Lin Feng proudly. Lin Feng gave Ling Zishi a thumbs up, which made Ling Zishi even happier. The 5 cultivators of the monster clan saw Ling Zishi's great power, and their eyes immediately lit up. We're saved, a cultivator of the monster clan said excitedly. A demon race cultivator said emotionally. If one could live, who would want to die? It was better to live than to die. Moreover, these people had extraordinary backgrounds and talents. Their future was bright, so they naturally wanted to live even more. When they were besieged previously, although they temporarily resisted the besiegement, deep in their hearts, they were extremely desperate because they had no hope of breaking out of the encirclement. In addition, their Dharma power consumption was huge. Therefore, when their Dharma power was almost exhausted, it would be their time of death. Now they saw the hope of survival. When the cultivators of the 4 immortal sects saw this scene, their expressions became extremely ugly. They also knew that they had encountered a tough opponent today. Ling Zishi was definitely an extremely difficult existence to provoke. At this moment, the 5 cultivators of the monster clan also began to counterattack the cultivators of the 4 immortal sects. Ling Zishi rushed over and joined the battle. With Ling Zishi's participation, the pressure on the 5 cultivators of the monster clan was greatly reduced. On the other hand, the 4 immortal sects suffered heavy losses. Who are you? We're from the Immortal Heaven sect, Immortal Beast sect, and Immortal Battle sect. Today's matter is between the 4 immortal sects and the monster clan. If you leave quickly, we can let bygones be bygones. If you insist on helping these cultivators of the monster clan, then we will have a feud with the 4 immortal sects. You have to think about your choice. Said Ling Zishi were the cultivators of the 4 immortal sects were. Ling Zishi was. Is were was. Were. Was Zishi's. Are? Do you think I'm afraid of the 4 immortal sects? Today, I just can't stand looking at you guys. A bunch of shameless bastards fishing for fame. You actually have the nerve to call yourselves cultivators from the Immortal Dao sect. Even if you don't feel ashamed, I feel ashamed for you. Seeing that Ling Zishi's attitude was tough, the expressions of the experts of the 4 immortal sects became extremely gloomy. After Ling Zishi joined the battle, the scales of victory had tilted. Ling Zishi's Dharma treasure was really powerful. Many experts of the four immortal sects were killed by Ling Zishi. The cultivators of the four immortal sects also knew that this could not go on. Otherwise, it would be extremely disadvantageous for them. It was very likely that everyone would die here. At this time, some of the cultivators of the four immortal sects had their eyes on Lin Feng. They saw that Lin Feng did not make a move and was still some distance away. Therefore, they guessed that Lin Feng's cultivation level was probably not high enough to participate in their battle. Some cultivators sensed Lin Feng's cultivation level and found that Lin Feng was only at the human immortal realm. They were immediately filled with contempt for Lin Feng. Although a human immortal realm cultivator was not weak, in their eyes, he was nothing. Therefore, two cultivators quickly rushed toward Lin Feng. They wanted to capture Lin Feng and use him to threaten Ling Zishi. Seeing the two cultivators rushing toward Lin Feng, Ling Zishi could not help but have an extremely strange expression on her face. Those two guys. Did they really think that Lin Feng was a pushover? A pushover? How dare they take the initiative to rush over to die? They really did not know how to write the word death. Ling Zishi ignored the two cultivators and continued to attack the surrounding cultivators. Surrender, brat! The two cultivators quickly rushed in front of Lin Feng with a sinister smile. He looked at Lin Feng in a cold and detached way. As far as they were concerned, suppressing Lin Feng was as easy as stretching out their hands. The two of them began to circulate their magic power, wanting to attack Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked coldly at the two of them. The Eye of Death emitted the power of death. This was the special ability of the Eye of Death, death deprivation. The two cultivators. Before they could rush to Lin Feng's side, their lifespan was instantly taken away. In just a breath's time. From the appearance of a normal person, they turned into two dried corpses. Thump! Thump! The two cultivators' dried corpses fell to the ground. Oh my God! That person is so terrifying! The 5 demon clan cultivators naturally saw the situation here and could not help but cry out in alarm. Previously, when they saw that Lin Feng did not make a move, they thought that Lin Feng's cultivation was not strong, so he did not make a move. Only now did they realize that they had underestimated Lin Feng's strength. Lin Feng's cultivation was simply too strong. Thus, he disdained to make a move. Run, hurry up and run! There were about 20 people left, and those cultivators all cried out in fear. They did not dare to stay any longer and turned to run. Seeing the group of people running away, Ling Zishi was furious. Ling Zishi looked at Lin Feng and shouted, "Hurry up and attack! Don't let those people escape!" Lin Feng nodded and flicked his finger. Sword Chi flew out one after another. The Sword Chi quickly chased after the group of cultivators. Puff! 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 Ripping sounds rang out one after another as one cultivator after another was ripped apart by the sword beams that Lin Feng sent out. Not a single one of the 20+ cultivators managed to escape. All of them were killed by Lin Feng. 7th update. Looking for recommendation votes. Chapter 5018. Words couldn't describe the shock they felt because Lin Feng's battle prowess was too terrifying. Moreover, Ling Zishi was strong enough. They didn't think that Ling Zishi was only relying on a magic treasure. If she wasn't strong enough, even if she had a powerful magic treasure, she wouldn't be able to display the power of the magic treasure. However, Ling Zishi was able to do this, which was enough to show how terrifying she was. They couldn't help but be curious about Lin Feng and Ling Zishi's identities. They didn't know who Lin Feng and Ling Zishi were, and why they had chosen to help them. This puzzled them. The 5 came to Lin Feng and Ling Zishi's side and thanked Lin Feng and Ling Zishi. "Thank you, young master and fairy, for saving us," Lin Feng said. "You're welcome. I have something to ask you." "Please ask, young master. If we know, we'll tell you the truth," a cultivator in green said. "Do you know the Little Rock King of the demon race?" Lin Feng asked. "Little Rock King?" They all looked surprised. the sexy female cultivator of the demon clan said. We have indeed heard of Little Rock King. He seems to be a cultivator from the first ancestral land of the demon clan. He came from the 9 regions macro world, but we don't know him. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel disappointed. It seemed that these 5 cultivators weren't from the first ancestral land of the demon race. Perhaps they were from the other 6 great ancestral lands of the demon race. Their entry into the ancient demon desert should have nothing to do with the Little Rock King. Perhaps they were exploring the ancient demon desert. After all, although the ancient demon desert was dangerous, there were also many opportunities here. Some cultivators would often take great risks to enter the ancient demon desert in search of opportunities, and those cultivators would often find some amazing opportunities. Lin Feng asked, What's going on with the 4 major immortal sects? Why are they attacking you? The sexy female cultivator said. Previously, we obtained a map and went to look for some opportunities. The cultivators from the 4 major immortal sects also received the news and came in to look for opportunities. However, we found the opportunities first. So, we were besieged by the cultivators from the 4 major immortal sects. So that's how it is. Lin Feng nodded. According to the female cultivator of the demon clan, the cultivators of the 4 major immortal sects who were killed should not be the same group as the cultivators of the 4 major immortal sects who were chasing after the Little Rock King. Lin Feng said. Let's say our goodbyes here. You should leave quickly. The ancient demon desert is very dangerous. You shouldn't stay here for too long. Lin Feng and Ling Zishi then bid farewell to the 5 demon race cultivators. The sexy female cultivator licked her lips and said, I didn't dare to ask about this person's identity, as I was afraid of breaking a taboo. I wonder if I can meet him again. I'm really curious about who this person is. At such a young age, he was actually so powerful. If I know who he is, I'll definitely chase after him in the future. When the time comes, I'll make him kneel before me. The other 3 male cultivators couldn't help but smile wryly. They knew the female cultivator's personality, so her words didn't seem too sudden. At this time, the female demon cultivator with an outstanding temperament said, He's a human cultivator, very young, and at the same time, his cultivation is so strong. There aren't many young human experts like him in the undying realm, and this person seems to be looking for the whereabouts of the Little Rock King. I don't know if something happened to the Little Rock King. The Little Rock King came from the 9 regions and spent most of his time in seclusion in the first ancestral land of the demon race. Apart from some friends in the first ancestral land of the demon race, he has very few friends outside, but this person is a friend of the Little Rock King. This means that this person is very likely to come from the 9 regions world. If we put all these together, we can speculate about this person's identity. Speaking of which, the female cultivator's beautiful eyes shone with a strange light. He was the emperor of the sinner's blood of the human clan. Naturally, she had heard of him long ago. She was very interested in this sinner's blood emperor and wanted to meet him one day to see what kind of person he was. She didn't expect to meet him under such circumstances. Originally, she wanted to get to know Lin Feng, but Lin Feng was clearly in a hurry, so she didn't say much to Lin Feng. However, he gave her a very good impression of Lin Feng. Young, handsome, powerful, and humble. It wasn't an exaggeration to describe Lin Feng in any way. You're saying that he's the sinner's blood emperor of the human clan, Lin Feng? The female cultivator with the sexy figure couldn't help but exclaim. Then, her beautiful eyes became brighter and brighter. The other 3 male cultivators were also extremely shocked. They carefully thought about the female cultivator's words and felt that her speculation was very correct. That person seemed to be the sinner's blood emperor of the human clan, Lin Feng. He had just arrived in the undying world not long ago, but he was able to unite the sinners against the heavenly court and destroy 3 legions in succession. Now, he had actually saved them. Moreover, Lin Feng was so young, just as young as the legends said. In fact, many people doubted Lin Feng's age when they heard about it. It was no wonder that they doubted Lin Feng's age because according to the rumors, he was only a little over 100 years old. It sounded very strange. Naturally, it was a little unbelievable. However, after seeing Lin Feng, they realized that the rumors were true. Lin Feng was indeed a little too young, but Lin Feng was also very strong, even stronger than the rumors. This made people feel very shocked. The Sinner's Blood Emperor of the human clan is the man I want to conquer. I want to conquer him, said the female cultivator with the sexy figure. She had an expression of yearning and anticipation. The five of them didn't stay for long and quickly rushed outside. Lin Feng and Ling Zishi continued to look for places with weaker magnetic fields. However, such places weren't easy to find because many places had stronger magnetic fields. That night, Lin Feng and Ling Zishi rested in the desert. Lin Feng sat cross-legged while Ling Zishi leaned on Lin Feng to rest. Lin Feng took out the letter that Feng Yaoguang had sent him. Reading the contents, he couldn't help but sigh. When he entered the heaven-devouring secret realm, Lin Feng wanted to enter the reincarnation passage to find Feng Yaoguang, but he couldn't find the entrance to the reincarnation passage. Therefore, he naturally couldn't find Feng Yaoguang and didn't know how she was doing. Chapter 50-19. Actually, Lin Feng had heard that there was an entrance to the reincarnation passage in the heaven-devouring secret realm. However, there were many rumors in this world that were not true. Therefore, Lin Feng did not know if the news he heard was true or false. Sometimes, there were many things that were true and false that could not be distinguished. This was also the case this time. Lin Feng did not know how to find Feng Yaoguang. He could only continue to wait and see if there were any other methods. When the bridge reaches the bow of the boat, everything will be straight. Let nature take its course. This sister will be fine. You don't have to worry too much, Ling Zishi said. Lin Feng kept Feng Yaoguang's letter. Then, he looked at Ling Zishi and said, "This is really strange. You actually know how to persuade people. Are you frantically hinting to me that you are actually interested in me? Boldly say that you love me. Since there is nothing to do in this vast desert, we can talk about love. This is also a pretty good choice." Ling Zishi looked at Lin Feng angrily and said, "Do you believe that I won't take out that pair of scissors magic treasure to deal with you? I believe that soon, there will be another eunuch surnamed Lin in this world." After hearing Ling Zishi's threat, Lin Feng could not help but be speechless. Ling Zishi, this little girl, could really say anything. In short, a valiant life did not need to be explained. The next day, Lin Feng and Ling Zishi continued to search for a place with a weaker magnetic field. This afternoon, Lin Feng and Ling Zishi really found such a place. This place was in an area filled with quicksand. That area was very dangerous. If a cultivator entered that area, they would be easily swallowed by the quicksand. After Lin Feng arrived at that place, Sacred Martin Immortal immediately flew out. When Lin Feng saw Sacred Martin Immortal fly out, he knew that the magnetic field in this place should not be able to affect Sacred Martin Immortal. Lin Feng took out the heart plate. Sacred Martin Immortal continued to control the heart plate to deduce the whereabouts of Little Rock King. In fact, although the magnetic field here was a lot weaker, it was still very strong. When I said weak, it was a kind of relative weakness. It didn't mean that the restriction here was very weak. Thus, Great Immortal Sacred Martin still did not dare to be careless in the slightest. However, this fellow still cared a lot about its reputation. The failure of the previous divination had already made the Great Sage Martin extremely angry. This time, Great Sage Martin did not want to fail again. Great Immortal Sacred Martin began chanting an incantation, but it was still an incantation that Lin Feng could not understand. Ling Zishi looked at the heart plate with interest. Ling Zishi was very interested in many things that Lin Feng had. However, she had only half-jokingly asked for an ancient demon weapon from Lin Feng. After all, Ling Zishi's background was extraordinary. So ordinary things were unable to arouse Ling Zishi's interest at all. After a series of deductions, the heart compass finally indicated a direction. Sacred Martin Immortal appeared once again. Lin Feng asked. "The heart compass has already indicated a new direction. Do you think we have a high chance of success this time?" Sacred Martin Immortal said. "Don't worry. We won't make a mistake this time. Lin Feng and Ling Zishi set off in the direction indicated by the heart compass. Their speed was extremely fast. 10 days later, Lin Feng saw an ancient city in the desert. Yellow sand filled the sky. The ancient city stood tall amidst the yellow sand. It was unknown how many years it had weathered the wind and rain, but it still stood tall. Forgotten City! Lin Feng looked at the ancient city in shock. Although it was very far away, Lin Feng could still see the 4 words written on the plaque of the ancient city. Forgotten City. Wasn't that the place where the Devil's End clan lived? Lin Feng still remembered the Devil's End clan cultivator that he had killed before. That cultivator was extremely powerful and had grasped some terrifying methods. The reason why he had been able to kill that cultivator so easily was because that cultivator had been careless. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been so easy to kill him. Could it be that the little Pin King has entered Forgotten City? Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. Lung Zishi said. The Devil's End clan cultivators in Forgotten City are hostile to cultivators outside. Therefore, I'm guessing that the little Pin King was captured by the Devil's End clan cultivators and not entered Forgotten City himself. Lin Feng nodded. Lin Feng actually agreed with Ling Zishi's words. Lin Feng felt that many things must have happened after the little Pin King was chased into the ancient demon desert by the experts of the 4 great immortal sects. However, Lin Feng didn't know what exactly had happened. He didn't know how the experts of the 4 great immortal sects were doing. Lung Zishi said. If we want to save him, we need to sneak into Forgotten City. However, how to sneak into Forgotten City is a headache. Lin Feng said. Let's wait and see if we can find an opportunity to sneak into Forgotten City. Forgotten City, City Lord's mansion. A group of people was currently sitting in the living room. The person in the lead was a middle-aged cultivator. This was a middle-aged cultivator who was imposing without being angry. This middle-aged cultivator's strength was unfathomable. Anyone who felt this middle-aged cultivator's aura would feel endless fear. This middle-aged cultivator was the current city lord of Forgotten City. In addition to this middle-aged cultivator, there were more than 20 people sitting in the living room. These people were all experts of Forgotten City. Forgotten City occupied the ancient demon desert and had been hiding here for countless years. Therefore, Forgotten City's strength was extremely powerful. In the middle of the living room, there was an illusory shadow. If Lin Feng was here, he would definitely recognize this shadow. This was because this shadow looked exactly the same as the Devil Sand Clan cultivator he had killed before. This was the soul of that Devil Sand Clan cultivator. Father, my body was destroyed by a human cultivator. Please help me change my fate. This soul knelt on the ground and looked at the city lord of Forgotten City. This guy was actually the son of the city lord of Forgotten City. This was a bit surprising. Changing your fate will exhaust Father's vitality. Do you think you have the qualifications to ask Father to change your fate? I think you should dissipate on your own. If you can't even deal with people from the outside world, living will be a waste of cultivation resources. At this time, a woman opened her mouth and said. This woman was about 1.8 meters tall and was very tall. She wore a short shirt and a short skirt made of beast skin. A pair of straight and slender beautiful legs were very attractive. Her entire temperament looked very wild and untamed, with a sense of wildness. Father has the freedom to do whatever he wants. Don't forget your own identity. A lowly servant's daughter dares to order Father around? Do you really think you're some big shot? The spirit body of the Mo Sha clan cultivator laughed coldly, looking at the female cultivator with an indifferent expression. Chapter 50-20. Fang Wu Shu, you dare to humiliate me? Do you believe me when I say that I can destroy your soul right now? The woman said coldly. She took a step forward, and a terrifying wave of energy emanated from her body. This woman's cultivation was absolutely terrifying. Although this guy named Fang Wu Shu had always looked down on his half-sister because of her background, he was still not a match for his sister even if his physical body was still there, and his combat strength was at its peak. His sister was indeed very terrifying. Not only was her bloodline powerful, but she also had some incredible means. These means even made Fang Wuxu jealous. Now that Fang Wuxu had lost his physical body and only his soul was left, he was naturally no match for his younger sister. Therefore, if his younger sister wanted to destroy him, it was too simple. It was as easy as blowing off dust. Seeing that his sister was really going to kill him, Fang Wuxu couldn't help but feel a little scared. However, his self-esteem naturally wouldn't allow him to admit his mistake to his sister. He shouted, "Fan Yuan! What do you want? Father and the other seniors are here. Don't think that you can look down on everyone just because you're strong. Even if you don't put me in your eyes, do you not put Father and the other seniors in your eyes?" The female cultivator with a sexy figure was called Fang Yuan, which was quite a nice name. She sneered and said, "I have my father and the elders in my heart, but you have your mouth. I think that between you and me, it will be easy for my father and the elders to make a choice." Fang Yuan walked towards Fang Wuxu's soul step by step. Fang Yuan was very confident when she said this. The reason why she was so confident was because she was very powerful and talented. In the younger generation of the Forgotten City, no one was as talented as Fang Yuan. In fact, not to mention the younger generation, even the older generation and the middle generation cultivators were not as talented as Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan's bloodline was a mutated bloodline. It was said that Fang Yuan's bloodline had mutated because she had been stung by an unknown bug in the desert when she was young. There had been people who had been stung by that unknown bug before. However, previously, all the cultivators who were stung by those unknown poisonous insects would eventually die. Only Fang Yuan survived. After she survived, her bloodline began to gradually mutate, so her talent was abnormally tyrannical. Because Fang Yuan was born of a lowly servant girl, so a person like her should not have any status. However, after Fang Yuan's talent was gradually revealed, her status in the family naturally rose as a result. Even Fang Wuxu was full of jealousy and hatred towards Fang Yuan. Especially now. Fang Wuxu had lost his physical body, and only his soul remained. Thinking about how powerful Fang Yuan's talent was, and how powerful she was, Fang Wuxu felt like going crazy. "Don't come here! Don't come here!" Fang Wuxu shouted in horror and quickly retreated. Fang Yuan's palm condensed an extremely powerful magic power. She seemed to want to attack Wuxu. At this moment their father, the city lord of the Forgotten City, Fang Junshan, said, "Your Honor, Wuxu is your elder brother after all. You have the same blood flowing in your body. How can you bear to kill your elder brother?" Hearing her father plead for mercy for Fang Wuxu, Fang Yuan raised her eyebrows. She stopped. However, she didn't say anything. She was using silent means to express her attitude. Fang Junshan couldn't help but smile bitterly. He looked at Fang Wuxu and said angrily, "Why aren't you apologizing to your sister?" "Apologize? Lord Father wants me to apologize to her? Why should I?" Fang Wuxu wanted to say some harsh words, but after seeing his father's gloomy expression, he swallowed back his words. He didn't dare to touch his father's eyebrows at this time. "I was wrong." Fang Wuxu looked at Fang Yuan and said. When he said these words, the fist hidden in his sleeves suddenly clenched. He was incomparably furious. He had always looked down on Fang Yuan and felt that she was the daughter of a lowly servant. He had always mocked and humiliated her. Now, in front of so many people, he had actually apologized to Fang Yuan. This made him feel extremely sullen. The person that Fang Wuxu wanted to kill the most wasn't Lin Feng, but Fang Yuan. His hatred for Lin Feng came from his defeat at the hands of Lin Feng. His hatred for Fang Yuan came from his jealousy over the years. This hatred had been buried in his heart for too many years. Therefore, Fang Wuxu always wanted to get rid of Fang Yuan, his half-sister. In fact, Fang Wuxu wanted to get rid of Fang Yuan for another reason. In the history of the Forgotten City, there had been more than one female city lord. In other words, in the Forgotten City, in the city lord's family, it didn't mean that just because you were a son, you could inherit the position of city lord. If your talent wasn't good enough, you still wouldn't be able to inherit the position of city lord. It might be inherited by your elder sister or younger sister. Fang Wushu's talent was actually quite terrifying, and his strength was also quite terrifying. He also had some terrifying means. For example, the destruction energy combined with the spacetime energy was extremely terrifying. However, compared to Fang Yuan, Fang Wushu couldn't compare to Fang Yuan because Fang Yuan's talent was simply too strong. Therefore, in the future, the candidate for the new city lord would most likely be Fang Yuan and not him. Fang Wushu naturally couldn't accept this matter. So, he wanted to kill his half-sister, Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan looked at Fang Wushu indifferently and said, "I will forgive you this time for father's sake, but there won't be a next time. If you dare to disrespect me again, I will kill you. At that time, no matter who comes to beg me, I will not forgive you." After hearing Fang Yuan's words, Fang Wushu was quite angry. He originally wanted to refute, but when he thought of Fang Yuan's terrifying personality, he swallowed those words back into his stomach. He didn't dare to continue provoking Fang Yuan, because Fang Yuan might really kill him. Fang Junshan looked at Fang Wushu and said, "It will take some time to help you change your fate. During this time you should prepare well. Also, have you figured out the background of the person who destroyed your body?" Chapter 50-21. I don't know where that guy came from, but he looks very young and his cultivation is only SOSO. He was only able to destroy my body because I was careless and was injured by his magic treasure, Fang Wushu said with a gloomy expression. Fang Wushu was still furious when he thought about losing to Lin Feng because he felt that he still had many terrifying methods that he hadn't used yet. He had underestimated his opponent too much in that battle, and by the time he came back to his senses, it was already too late. In the end, his body was destroyed. If he was given another chance, Fang Wushu believed that he could definitely kill Lin Feng and wipe away his shame. Fang Wushu still had this confidence, but he was destined not to have such an opportunity. Life was a live broadcast, not a dress rehearsal. There was no chance to start over. Fang Junshan naturally wouldn't completely believe Fang Wushu's words. Even if Fang Wushu had a powerful magic treasure, if he didn't have enough strength, he wouldn't be able to activate it. It was true that Fang Wushu had a powerful magic treasure, but it was also true that he was very strong. Fang Wushu didn't want to admit that Fang Wushu was very strong because he still wanted to find an excuse for his failure. In short, Fang Wushu didn't want to admit that his failure was caused by his lack of strength. At this moment, a guard came into the hall and knelt on the ground to salute. "What's the matter?" an elder asked. The guard said, "Reporting to the city lord elders, a man and a woman came outside. They wandered around the city for a long time and then disappeared without a trace. We don't know where they went. It's them, it must be them, it must be that bastard couple." Fang Wushu's eyes immediately turned blood red. After hearing the guard's report, he knew that it must be the man and woman he had seen before. Fang Junshan said, "Wushu, don't be impatient." "Yes." Fang Wushu suppressed the killing intent in his heart, and said. Fang Junshan asked, "Describe these two people's physical characteristics." The guard said, "They both look very young. The male cultivator is wearing black clothes and is very handsome. The woman is wearing a white dress and is extremely beautiful. She looks like a fairy who has descended from the 9 heavens. It's them, it's them. The man and the woman are wearing black clothes and white dresses respectively. The man looks like a pretty boy, and the woman is also quite beautiful. I'm sure that the two people outside are them. Father, those two people actually came to the Forgotten City and wandered around outside. I think that they definitely don't have good intentions. Why don't we immediately send some experts to capture them?" Fang Wushu immediately said. There were many experts in the Forgotten City. Lin Feng. "All right, you go and capture those two people." Fang Junshan nodded. He was very confident in Fang Yuan's strength. Fan Yuan was strong enough to fight against the older generation of experts. Even many experts of the older generation might not necessarily be a match for Fan Yuan. From this, it could be seen how tyrannical Fan Yuan was. "I'll be able to capture those two people very soon," said Fan Yuan. Then she walked outside with her long legs. Lin Feng didn't know that his and Ling Zixi whereabouts had been exposed. At that moment, Lin Feng and Ling Zixi were wandering around the Forgotten City. They wanted to see if they could enter the Forgotten City. However, the Forgotten City was surrounded by powerful restrictive spells. It was almost impossible to enter the Forgotten City unless they could break the restrictive spells outside. During the day, they couldn't break the restrictive spells because they were too big of a target during the day. If they wanted to break the restrictive spells outside the Forgotten City, they had to wait until night time. Ah! At that moment, Lin Zixi suddenly cried out in pain. Lin Feng turned his head and looked at Lin Zixi, then asked, "What's wrong?" "It seems like something bit me," said Lin Zixi. She squatted down and lifted her trousers. Lin Feng saw a red mark. An ant-like insect jumped out of Ling Zixi's trousers and into the desert, then disappeared without a trace. "Oh no, it's a fire-poison devouring insect. It's such a terrifying insect. Hurry up and seal her 8 extraordinary meridians. Otherwise, her life will be in danger." At that moment, the Demon Lord's voice suddenly echoed in Lin Feng's mind. When Lin Feng heard that, he was astonished. That insect was so small. How could it be so vicious? "I feel dizzy," said Lin Zixi. Then, she fell into Lin Feng's arms. Lin Feng's face suddenly changed. He didn't dare to hesitate, and quickly used the 8 divine seals to seal Ling Zixi's 8 extraordinary meridians. After doing all this, Lin Feng let out a sigh of relief. Lin Feng tried to wake Ling Zixi up. However, Ling Zixi didn't move. Lin Feng's divine sense invaded Ling Zixi's body. He was looking for the poison in her body. He hoped to find the poison that invaded Ling Zixi's body. However, after searching for a while, he didn't find anything. Lin Feng's face suddenly became incomparably ugly. The poison in that little insect's body was too strange. He couldn't find it. Yao Jun said, "Don't waste your energy. That poison is very terrifying and impossible to detect. Fortunately, you sealed her 8 extraordinary meridians in time to prevent the poison from spreading. At the same time, this little girl's body isn't something ordinary cultivators can compare to, so she's fine for now. However, you must find a way to detoxify her. Otherwise, it won't be long before your seal loses its effect. At that time, this little girl won't be able to escape death." After hearing the Demon Lord's words, Lin Feng's heart couldn't help but sink. He asked, "How can I detoxify her?" The Demon Lord said, "For now, I don't know how to detoxify this poison. We need to find out more information. The white jade toad can detoxify 10,000 poisons. I wonder if the white jade toad can detoxify the poison in her body?" asked Lin Feng. The Demon Lord shook his head and said, "Although the white jade toad is extraordinary, it will be very difficult to detoxify the poison in her body. Unless the white jade toad can evolve a few more times, it will be able to detoxify the poison. However, the white jade toad can alleviate the poison in her body and allow her to last a little longer. This will also buy you more time to find the detoxification method." Chapter 50-22. Hearing this, Lin Feng nodded. This was the only thing he could do for now. He sent Ling Zixi into the time-space, then let the white jade toad try to cure the poison in Ling Zixi's body. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. This was really an eventful time. Many things were happening at the same time. It was almost suffocating. However, this was life. Life couldn't be smooth sailing. It was full of thorns. When one encountered difficulties, they couldn't retreat. They had to face them head-on. At this moment, Fan Yuan climbed up the wall of the Forgotten City. She stood in front of a huge mirror. This mirror was called the Universal Mirror, and it could see through the whole world. In fact, the Universal Mirror was quite common. However, Even though it was called the universal mirror, it didn't necessarily mean that it was a universal mirror. Although many universal mirrors had the same name, they couldn't see through the whole world. However, the universal mirror in front of her was extremely different. It could really see through the changes in the whole world. It was mysterious and unfathomable. This was also the reason why Lin Feng and Leng Zishi were so far away from each other. A figure appeared on the universal mirror. It was Lin Feng. "Where's that woman?" Fan Yuan asked. When she had arrived, Leng Zishi had already been poisoned and unconscious. She had been sent into the time-space to rest by Lin Feng. Therefore, she only saw Lin Feng and didn't see Leng Zishi. The general said, "That woman seems to have been poisoned and then disappeared. It's very likely that she was taken into a small space by that kid." "Okay." Fan Yuan nodded. Then, she said, "Send 10 experts to deal with that kid. Let's see what he's capable of." "Yes," the general replied. Then, he went to give the order. Lin Feng was still wandering around outside the city. However, after Leng Zishi had fainted, there was no one around to talk to him. He was really not used to it. Lin Feng was waiting for night to fall. When night fell, he planned to find a place to break the restrictions and then enter the Forgotten City. However, there was also a need to pay attention to where to break the restriction. Due to the fact that the restrictions in many places were extremely powerful, it was very likely that some unexpected situations would occur if the restrictions in those places were destroyed. As a result, Lin Feng had to pay attention to this. As a result, he needed to find a place where the restrictions were relatively weaker. But at this moment, Lin Feng suddenly felt a dangerous aura. He quickly rushed up to the sky. Just as Lin Feng rushed up to the sky, the sand under his feet instantly collapsed. That area formed a powerful quicksand that almost swallowed Lin Feng. Lin Feng slightly frowned. He felt that things were not so simple. There seemed to be someone below. Lin Feng said coldly, "Who is it? Show yourself!" Whoosh whoosh whoosh. After Lin Feng's voice fell, a number of figures quickly rushed out. In total, there were 10 of them. These 10 cultivators all had khaki-colored skin and khaki-colored eyes. It looked very strange. They were the Devil Sand Clan cultivators. There was a difference between the men and women of the Devil Sand Clan. The men of the Devil Sand Clan did indeed look strange, but the women of the Devil Sand Clan were synonymous with sex appeal. "Brat, you actually dare to run to our Devil Sand Clan's lair and blindly stroll around Forgotten City. Are you here to die?" a cultivator coldly said. When Lin Feng saw these people, he knew that he had been discovered. The situation now was somewhat troublesome. After being discovered by the Devil Sand Clan cultivators, wanting to silently sneak into Forgotten City was no longer a realistic matter. Since he had exposed himself, Lin Feng did not need to continue hiding. Lin Feng indifferently said, "Who do you think you are? You actually dare to speak to me in such a tone?" When the Devil Sand Clan cultivators heard Lin Feng's words, they could not help but be slightly stunned. Obviously, they did not expect Lin Feng to be so arrogant. This was the territory of the Devil Sand Clan. Where did Lin Feng get the courage to be so arrogant? This caused the group of Devil Sand Clan cultivators to be infuriated. Lin Feng was so arrogant that he didn't put them in his eyes at all. These people were the elites of the Devil Sand Clan. That was why they were sent to deal with Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng actually dared to look down on them. This completely enraged the Devil Sand Clan cultivators. The group of people looked at Lin Feng with a cold gaze. If looks could kill, Lin Feng would have already been cut into pieces by these cultivators. "Why are you so angry?" "I'm telling the truth. You're all trash in front of me," said Lin Feng. Lin Feng indifferently said, "Courting death. Kill him. Skin this brat alive. If we don't cut him into pieces, it will be difficult to vent the hatred in our hearts." The group of cultivators roared in anger. Then, these incomparably angry cultivators began to attack Lin Feng. One by one, they used extremely powerful divine abilities to deal with Lin Feng. All kinds of powerful divine abilities condensed and blasted towards Lin Feng. That kind of power was really terrifying to the extreme. The group of people looked at Lin Feng indifferently. They naturally did not think that Lin Feng could withstand their attacks. It was no wonder that these cultivators would have such thoughts. After all, they had the advantage in numbers and strength, so naturally, they had great confidence in themselves. Lin Feng was alone. It was difficult to make a sound. Even if Lin Feng's cultivation was tyrannical, there were 10 of them. Which tyrannical cultivator did not have confidence in their own cultivation? Any tyrannical cultivator had great confidence in their own cultivation. Naturally, these cultivators were the same. Facing the attacks of a group of powerful cultivators, Lin Feng sneered and walked in the void. Lin Feng began to chant an incantation. The great path of destiny has already decided everyone's destiny, and I am the master of destiny. I have decided what your lives will be like. Come, river of destiny, let them all turn into dust in the river of destiny, said the great path of destiny. This was the incantation of the great art of destiny. Lin Feng controlled the 3,000 great Das, many immortal scriptures, and many top divine abilities. He could switch between the various divine abilities at will. Lin Feng did not use this great art of destiny much, but it was ranked second among the 3,000 great Das. The power of the great art of destiny. It was absolutely terrifying beyond imagination. Now that the great art of destiny was used by Lin Feng, a river of destiny suddenly flew out from the void. The river of destiny swept through heaven and earth. It surged towards the 10 cultivators of the Devil Sand clan. The 10 cultivators of the Devil Sand clan were instantly enveloped by the river of destiny, and their divine abilities were immediately broken. Then, they were suppressed in the river of destiny, unable to move. Chapter 50-23. That's impossible! The 10 Devil Sand clan cultivators roared in disbelief. They couldn't believe what had just happened. Their strength was so tyrannical, and their joint attack was incomparably terrifying. Even so, their joint attack had been broken by Lin Feng in an instant, and then suppressed by Lin Feng. This was something they naturally couldn't accept. I've already said that you're just a bunch of trash in front of me. But you didn't believe me. Now do you believe me? Lin Feng said indifferently. The Devil Sand clan cultivators' faces were as pale as paper. Lin Feng was really too terrifying. Now that they were suppressed by Lin Feng, they felt the threat of death. Lin Feng really dared to kill them. When a person's strength reached a certain level, they could naturally do things without restraint. In the eyes of this group of cultivators, Lin Feng belonged to this kind of person. He could do things without restraint. I'll now bestow death upon you. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent, and he was about to attack. Suddenly, a gale swept through the heavens and earth, and sand filled the sky as if it was about to cover the sky. In the midst of the sand, a fiery red light quickly flew over. Upon closer inspection, it was actually a long whip. It was a flaming whip, and it ruthlessly lashed towards Lin Feng. Its power was extremely terrifying, and Lin Feng couldn't help but feel a sense of dread. Lin Feng quickly attacked, and a fist swept towards the whip. A fist light condensed and collided with the flaming whip. The flaming whip was sent flying by Lin Feng's fist light, but Lin Feng's fist light was also shattered by the flaming whip. Lin Feng saw a woman walking over from the sandstorm. The woman was relatively tall, about 1.8 meters tall, but her figure was extremely slender. Her upper body was wearing a short shirt, and her flat stomach was exposed. Her lower body was covered in a short skirt made of animal skin, and her long legs were exposed. Generally, very few women would wear such revealing clothes. After all, the female cultivators in the world of cultivators valued their chastity more, so they tended to be more conservative. However, there were some races, such as the barbarian race, the beast race, and some other races, who didn't pay much attention to it. They paid particular attention to doing as they pleased, and lived as comfortable as they could. They didn't particularly care about other people's gazes. This hot and sexy female cultivator from the Mo Sha clan in front of him might also have such a personality. With a single palm strike, the river of destiny formed by Lin Feng was instantly shattered, and the 10 Devil Sand Clan cultivators trapped within the river of destiny were freed. Young mistress. The Devil Sand Clan cultivators all bowed towards this sexy woman. This woman was none other than Fang Yuan. Seeing Lin Feng suppress the 10 Devil Sand Clan cultivators, Fang Yuan made her move. Go back, Fang Yuan said. Yes. The 10 Devil Sand Clan cultivators all replied. They didn't dare to stay any longer, and quickly flew back to Forgotten City. Lin Feng looked at the female cultivator from the Mo Sha clan with interest. Those people called her young mistress. In other words, she should be the daughter of the Devil Sand Clan's city lord? Her identity was really different from the rest. Lin Feng had actually seen many different kinds of beauties, but there weren't many who were as tall as this beauty. First of all, women were usually taller. For example, a 1.7 tall woman and a 1.7 tall man were standing together. Many people would have a feeling that this woman was very tall. Why was she so much taller than the man beside her? In reality, they were the same height. A woman of 1.7 meters and above was naturally considered tall. Furthermore, this woman in front of him was actually 1.8 meters and above. She really gave off an oppressive feeling. Was it you who killed Fang Wushu? Fan Yuan looked at Lin Feng and asked. Lin Feng was slightly surprised. He thought of the Devil Sand Clan cultivator that he had killed before. He didn't think that the Devil Sand Clan people would know about it. He also didn't know how these people knew that he was the one who killed that guy. Of course, Lin Feng didn't care too much about this matter. He said, That guy who looked quite repulsive is the Fang Wushu you mentioned? If it's him, then this guy was indeed killed by me. Good job. The corner of Fang Yuan's mouth curled up into a faint smile. Lin Feng was a little surprised, but he quickly regained his senses. It seemed like this woman didn't have much of an interest in that Fang Wushu. Although they were from the same clan, and might even be related by blood, but so what? Father and son, even brothers could turn against each other, let alone others. Lin Feng said, Looks like I've gotten rid of a big problem for you, fairy. He. Fan Yuan immediately laughed and said, I'm not a fairy, I'm a witch. Are you going to obediently allow yourself to be captured, or do you want me to capture you? But let me say this first, once I make a move, I might not be able to hold back. At that time, you might be killed by me. Lin Feng said, If you want to kill me, you're still a bit lacking. However, I don't like to kill people, especially women. I won't kill beautiful women. You should be glad that you're a beautiful woman. A woman like you should be loved. Don't worry, after I capture you, I'll properly love you. Looks like you and Fang Wushu are jackals of the same tribe. Neither of you is a good person. Fang Yuan sneered. Lin Feng retorted, You're wrong. I'm very different from Fang Wushu. That guy's character is sinister and evil, and he's not a good person. I'm upright and kind. There's nothing wrong with liking beautiful women. Then should I thank you for saying that I'm a beautiful woman? Fang Yuan sneered. If you want to thank me, then submit to me. To have the chance to be favored by me is your fortune from your previous life. Lin Feng said indifferently. Hearing Lin Feng's words, Fang Yuan was furious. She had never seen someone as arrogant as Lin Feng. Where did this guy get his sense of superiority from? Moreover, Lin Feng was a human. According to Fang Yuan's knowledge, the human race was relatively weak, so cultivators kept a low profile. As for Lin Feng, as a human, he was the complete opposite of the other humans. Fang Yuan began to circulate her magic power. It was obvious that she was planning to attack Lin Feng. As she circulated her magic power, she sneered and said, I don't want to kill you now. I want to make you my male slave. Then I'll step on you and trample on your dignity. I'll let you know how laughable you are in front of me. Chapter 50-24. Lin Feng was already on guard against Fang Yuan, so when Fang Yuan attacked, he already moved. Lin Feng moved to the left. Although Fan Yuan's attack was extremely terrifying, Lin Feng still managed to dodge it. After dodging Fan Yuan's attack, Lin Feng tried to quickly approach Fan Yuan. He could feel the strength of this woman, so Lin Feng didn't want to compete with Fan Yuan in terms of sacred art and spiritual power. Instead, he wanted to use physical strength to quickly suppress Fan Yuan. After capturing Fan Yuan, he could use Fan Yuan to exchange for Little Peng's freedom. However, Fan Yuan didn't give Lin Feng a chance to fight in close combat. Seeing Lin Feng quickly rushing towards her, Fan Yuan kept the flame whip and attacked with both hands. Fan Yuan's divine ability was very strange. Basically, she didn't need to prepare much. Moreover, she could continuously attack with her palms. In addition, the attack formed by her palms was a kind of invisible attack. When other people attacked with their palms, they might condense an energy handprint. No matter how strong or weak the energy handprint was, at least this energy handprint could be seen by the naked eye. However, Fan Yuan's attack couldn't be seen, which was a little strange. In addition, she could continuously attack like this, basically not giving the opponent time to react or condense a sacred art. Once the opponent fell into Fan Yuan's rhythm, it would be an extremely dangerous thing. Therefore, Lin Feng was forced into a panic by Fan Yuan. Lin Feng rarely had this kind of feeling. He had already forgotten when was the last time he was forced into such a difficult situation. This woman was really powerful. However, Lin Feng wasn't completely without a way to restrain Fan Yuan. Lin Feng used the 6 paths of reincarnation fist. Fist-type sacred arts were a little special. They were somewhat different from other sacred arts. Before other sacred arts were activated, they needed to make hand seals or chant incantations. They needed a certain amount of time to prepare. However, fist-type and palm-type sacred arts didn't need this time. They only needed to circulate their spiritual power, and this spiritual power would form a large cycle in the body's specific meridians. Then, he would be able to use this kind of divine ability. There were some similarities between the 6 paths of reincarnation fist and Fan Yuan's palm technique. It could be used continuously. Moreover, as he continued to use it, the power of the stacking would become stronger and stronger. Unlike other divine abilities, there was no cooldown after using it. Even if there was no cooldown, the power of the skill would be significantly reduced. This was completely different from the 6 paths of reincarnation fist. When Lin Feng's 6 paths of reincarnation punch collided with Fan Yuan's attack, Lin Feng's attack collided with hers. Lin Feng had locked onto Fan Yuan's aura, so no matter how formless Fan Yuan's attacks were, they could not break through Lin Feng's defense. Bang bang bang, both sides collided again and again. The more Fan Yuan fought, the more surprised she became. She discovered that she had underestimated Lin Feng. Lin Feng's fighting strength was much stronger than what she had expected. Moreover, Fan Yuan also discovered a terrifying thing. Lin Feng's fist technique was very powerful, one punch after another, and the next punch would be much more powerful than the previous one. Now, he had already stacked 42 punches, and this fist technique was somewhat similar to her own palm technique. However, her own palm technique had already stacked 64 punches, but she was still suppressed by Lin Feng. Just now, she still had the advantage, but now, her advantage was gone. Bang! In the next moment, accompanied by the sound of a violent collision, Lin Feng and Fan Yuan collided once again. This time, Fan Yuan's palm technique was broken by Lin Feng's 6 paths of reincarnation fist. Fan Yuan's entire body was sent flying. Fan Yuan's expression became extremely ugly. Ever since she started out, she had never been defeated. Although it couldn't be considered a defeat, she had suffered a small loss at the hands of Lin Feng. This caused Fan Yuan to be extremely angry. And the upper echelons of Forgotten City who were standing on the city wall watching the battle. When they saw this scene, they couldn't help but reveal a shocked expression. Fang Wushu said sarcastically, "This woman has always been self-righteous. Now that she has suffered a loss, she really deserves it. Fang Wushu, shut up! Remember your own identity." At this time, an ancestor-level expert coldly reprimanded Fang Wuxiu. Everyone knew about the relationship between Fang Wuxiu and Fan Yuan, but this was a matter between the younger generation. Therefore, no matter what kind of trouble it was, these older generation experts naturally couldn't interfere. Even if someone were to ask, it would be their father who would ask about this matter. But now, Fan Yuan had suffered a small loss at the hands of Lin Feng, and Fang Wuxiu was here mocking and ridiculing Fan Yuan. This was something that the older generation experts could not accept. It didn't matter how much trouble they made at home. But when facing outsiders, they had to be united. United against outsiders. Only in this way would this force be able to survive for a long time. But obviously, Fang Wuxiu didn't seem to understand this logic. Seeing Fan Yuan suffer a loss, he mocked and ridiculed her. Wasn't this helping outsiders? How could these older generation experts tolerate such a thing happening? If it wasn't for the fact that Fang Wuxiu was the son of the city lord, and that he was only left with a soul body. Just now, it was not as simple as reprimanding Fang Wuxiu. "Ancestor, I was wrong, please punish me." Fang Wuxiu hurriedly said. "I'm too lazy to punish you, but remember your own identity. There are some things that you should say and some things that you shouldn't say," the ancestor-level expert said coldly. Fang Wuxiu nodded and said, "Yes." In fact, he was extremely angry in his heart, but at this time, he didn't dare to say anything, for fear of angering the ancestor. At that time, he wouldn't be able to eat the consequences. And at this time, Lin Feng had already quickly rushed towards Fan Yuan. Fan Yuan was repelled, which was a great opportunity to defeat Fan Yuan in one go. If he missed this great opportunity, it would not be easy to find such a good opportunity again. Lin Feng quickly rushed in front of Fan Yuan, still using the 6 paths of reincarnation fist to attack Fan Yuan. Fan Yuan's face changed slightly. Facing Lin Feng's attack, she didn't dare to be careless. Many runes gushed out of her body, especially on her palm. Those runes completely wrapped Fan Yuan's palm. Fan Yuan's palm hit towards Lin Feng. Bang! Chapter 50-25. Lin Feng had completely followed Fan Yuan, so it was very difficult for Fan Yuan to get rid of Lin Feng. The 6 paths of reincarnation fist bombarded Fan Yuan one after another, and Fan Yuan blocked Lin Feng's attacks. However, Fan Yuan was now suppressed. Although she was not injured, she could not get rid of Lin Feng and could not use powerful methods to counterattack. Therefore, it was only a matter of time before Fan Yuan was defeated by Lin Feng. "Who is this kid? He is so tyrannical." The cultivators on the wall of the Forgotten City could not help but have gloomy faces. Fan Yuan was a powerful existence that many of the older generation experts could not defeat, so Fang Wuxiu was very powerful. In fact, he was still very afraid of Fan Yuan in his heart. But now, Fan Yuan was suppressed by Lin Feng so much, it was really beyond their expectations. If Lin Feng was a cultivator who had cultivated for many years, they would not say anything, and they would not even feel that it was strange. After all, Fan Yuan was very young, and some top experts could still suppress Fan Yuan. But now, the cultivator who suppressed Fan Yuan was younger than Fan Yuan. This was too inconceivable. Lin Feng's attacks were endless, and he almost defeated Fan Yuan several times, but Fan Yuan blocked them all. After seeing this situation, Lin Feng's face slightly sank. Lin Feng's combat experience was extremely rich, so he knew that when the opponent blocked the enemy's killing moves again and again, the situation might be quite bad. Once he was unable to kill the opponent directly, the opponent might launch a powerful counterattack. For example, now, Lin Feng felt that he had to end the battle quickly, otherwise Fan Yuan was likely to use some unexpected methods. This woman was very terrifying. Lin Feng also knew this. Although Lin Feng now had the upper hand, he did not have any intention of underestimating Fan Yuan. Lin Feng's attacks became even more powerful. In addition to the 6 paths of reincarnation fist, Lin Feng also released the domineering magnetic field. When Lin Feng released the domineering magnetic field, suddenly, Fan Yuan was greatly suppressed, and her combat strength was greatly suppressed. Fan Yuan was also an experienced and knowledgeable person. Although she did not know that Lin Feng used the domineering magnetic field, she felt the domineering power, so Fan Yuan knew that the method used by Lin Feng must be related to domineering. Fan Yuan's expression became dignified. Lin Feng really had a lot of methods, and they were also powerful enough. Fan Yuan knew that Lin Feng wanted to defeat her quickly, so she began to attack with all her strength. If this continued, it would be extremely disadvantageous for her. Fan Yuan clenched her silver teeth, and when Lin Feng attacked her again, Fan Yuan suddenly shook a silver bracelet on her hand. There were 5 bells on the silver bracelet. At the beginning, Lin Feng thought that the silver bracelet was just an ordinary thing, but now it seemed that it was not so. When the bells on the silver bracelet rang, an amazing thing happened. An energy ball flew out from each of the 5 bells, and the 5 energy balls contained an unimaginably terrifying power, and directly flew towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. He felt that his blood was flowing quickly, and at an unprecedented speed. This showed that the power of the 5 energy balls was enough to threaten his life. Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. The 5 energy balls were too terrifying. He quickly used the heaven patching technique, and at the same time Lin Feng used the heaven patching technique, the 5 energy balls exploded, and the destructive energy flooded towards Lin Feng, but Lin Feng dodged Fan Yuan's attack in advance. Damn it! Seeing that Lin Feng dodged the attack of the 5 energy balls in advance, Fan Yuan couldn't help but curse. Previously, Fan Yuan was extremely suppressed by Lin Feng, and she didn't plan to use the 5 energy balls, because the 5 energy balls were one of her trump cards, and she spent 100 years to condense them with great difficulty, so unless it was absolutely necessary, she wouldn't use the 5 energy balls. Originally, Fan Yuan was secretly preparing some powerful divine ability to counterattack Lin Feng, and that divine ability was about to be completed. But who would have thought that Lin Feng sensed that something was wrong, so he used the domineering magnetic field. The domineering magnetic field and the 6 paths of reincarnation fist made Fan Yuan feel a great threat. Fan Yuan was worried that her divine ability would be defeated by Lin Feng before it was completed, so she used the 5 energy balls to deal with Lin Feng. Fan Yuan thought that Lin Feng would be seriously injured even if he didn't die, but she didn't expect that Lin Feng would actually smoothly dodge the attack of the 5 energy balls. Fan Yuan understood one thing: Lin Feng's ability to sense danger was incredible. Could it be that he had the ability to sense danger? Could it be that he had the ability to sense danger? In fact, Fan Yuan also had the ability of sudden inspiration, but the stronger the bloodline, the stronger the ability of sudden inspiration. Although Fan Yuan's bloodline was very strong, after all, she was a mutated bloodline, but Fan Yuan's bloodline was far inferior to Lin Feng's bloodline. Therefore, Fan Yuan's ability of sudden inspiration was still quite different from Lin Feng's ability of sudden inspiration. Many dangers that she couldn't sense, Lin Feng could sense. At this time, Lin Feng appeared 300 meters away, and he couldn't help but show an expression of fear. Fortunately, he was alert and avoided the terrifying attack just now, otherwise, the situation just now would have been very dangerous. Fan Yuan was really not simple, and her hidden means were really terrifying. He didn't know if this woman's bracelet could still release such a terrifying power. He had to be careful, otherwise, it might cause terrible consequences. "I'll let you have a taste of my divine ability." Fan Yuan coldly looked at Lin Feng. As soon as her voice fell, Fan Yuan's hands continuously formed seals. Hum! Chapter 50-26. This divine ability was called the Way of the Rising Dragon of the Heavens. It was rumored to be a supreme divine ability created by one of the 3 ancestral dragons. Ancestral dragons. They were the oldest and most terrifying existences of the dragon clan. They were definitely at the peak of the Saint realm. Lin Feng wouldn't find it strange even if some people said that they had surpassed the Saint realm, because they were indeed extremely terrifying. Therefore, the divine abilities created by ancestral dragons were at least on par with the trump cards of Saint Emperors, demon lords, and other experts. They might even surpass their trump cards. This was why ancestral dragons were so terrifying. In the entire history of this era, only 3 ancestral dragons had been born. Therefore, their strength was absolutely unimaginable. Fan Yuan's bloodline was very powerful, and her cultivation was also very high. She had already broken through to the true immortal realm. Although she had just broken through a few years ago, and her cultivation wasn't stable yet, she was still a true immortal. When she used the way of the rising dragon of the heavens at such a high level, she had indeed released the power of this divine ability. Seeing the densely packed dragons pouncing over, Lin Feng took out the Hoi bow. Holding it in his hand, he pulled the bowstring and shot arrows. The energy of the world quickly gathered from all directions. Swoosh, 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 one after another, energy arrows shot towards the dragons at high speed. Bang! 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 Along with the sounds of violent collisions, there was a loud bang. Lin Feng released a series of energy arrows from his Hoi bow, shattering the dragons that pounced on him one after another. The two sides immediately entered a stalemate. Go, capture that kid! At this time, an ancestral-level expert said in a deep voice. The other 2 ancestral-level experts couldn't help but nod. The 3 of them had silently disappeared. Clearly, they had used a method to conceal themselves. They quickly flew towards the place where Lin Feng and Fan Yuan were fighting. Lin Feng's space Dao was so powerful that he had already sensed the 3 ancestral-level experts' auras when they flew over. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. This place was relatively close to the Forgotten City, so many experts could come to support Fan Yuan. This was a rather troublesome matter. Fan Yuan was very difficult to deal with, but Lin Feng believed that with his methods, dealing with Fan Yuan would not be too big of a problem. However, if a few more powerful figures appeared and joined forces with Fan Yuan, then it would not be him suppressing Fan Yuan, but Fan Yuan and the others joining forces to suppress him. Let's lure this woman away before those 3 old bastards arrive. A thought emerged in Lin Feng's mind. Fan Yuan was a very competitive woman. Previously, he had suffered a loss in his hands. He would definitely be extremely indignant. She must want to defeat him, and then capture him. Now, he only needed to show weakness in front of Fan Yuan, and then pretend to escape. With Fan Yuan's personality, she would definitely chase after him. She would never let her go so easily. Once she lured Fan Yuan to a secluded place, she would be able to deal with Fan Yuan alone. At that time, Fan Yuan would no longer have any reinforcements. Suppressing Fan Yuan would be very likely. Thinking of this, Lin Feng's mouth revealed a sneer. He continued to draw his bow and shoot arrows. However, the energy arrows that Lin Feng shot out were not as powerful as before. Naturally, this was done deliberately by Lin Feng. He wanted to tell Fan Yuan that he had consumed a lot of his spiritual energy, and his battle strength had greatly declined compared to when he was at his peak. Therefore, he was no longer a match for her. The energy arrows shot out by Lin Feng collided with the dragons condensed by Fan Yuan's magic. This time, the energy arrows were shattered by the dragons, and the dragons continued to rush towards Lin Feng. Today, this young master is tired, so I'll leave first. When this young master is done resting, we'll fight again. When that time comes, I'll definitely catch you. After I catch you, see how I'll train you. I'll definitely train you into an obedient slave. Lin Feng's eyes fiercely swept towards Fan Yuan's charming and tall body. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng turned around and quickly flew away. His speed was extremely fast, and it seemed as if he was fleeing. Fan Yuan was stunned for a moment, then she sneered. She soared into the sky and quickly chased after Lin Feng. At this moment, the 3 ancestor-level powerhouses from the Forgotten City were still some distance away from Lin Feng and Fan Yuan, so they were quickly shaken off by Lin Feng and Fan Yuan. Fan Yuan sneered and said, "Brat, the reason why you're so strong, is it because you're using some kind of magic treasure? I don't believe that at your age, you can be so strong without any magic treasures." Lin Feng said, "My battle strength is so strong. Are you jealous of me?" Fan Yuan continued to sneer and said, Why are you being so stubborn? After such a big battle, your magic power has been consumed very quickly. This means that your magic power isn't particularly strong, and it's not even proportional to your battle strength. This is enough to show that your battle strength is so tyrannical because you're using some kind of powerful magic treasure. If it wasn't for that, your magic power would also be extremely strong, and it wouldn't be consumed so quickly. Lin Feng said. You really think too highly of yourself. I'm too lazy to explain this matter to you. Forget it, I'm too lazy to continue talking to you. You can think whatever you want. Lin Feng continued to increase his speed and flew into the distance. Seeing Lin Feng in a hurry to leave, Fan Yuan thought that Lin Feng must be feeling guilty, so he wanted to quickly escape. She sneered and chased after Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't use his maximum speed because if he did, Fan Yuan would probably be left behind without a trace. Thus, Lin Feng slowed down as much as possible. This way, he wouldn't be able to shake Fan Yuan off, and Fan Yuan wouldn't be able to catch up to Lin Feng. Under Lin Feng's enticement, Lin Feng and Fan Yuan were getting further and further away from the Forgotten City. Finally, Lin Feng stopped in front of a huge sand dune. He turned to look at Fan Yuan. Fan Yuan walked over step by step with a cold smile on her face. She said, "Why aren't you running anymore? Have you given up because you know that you can't escape?" Lin Feng said, "Of course not. I think that this place is far enough from the Forgotten City. It's a good place to deal with you," Fan Yuan said. Fan Yuan showed a disdainful expression and said, "You sure know how to boast shamelessly. Don't you know how much you're worth?" Lin Feng didn't argue with Fan Yuan too much on this topic. Lin Feng planned to ask Fan Yuan if the Little Rock King had been captured by the experts of the Forgotten City. Chapter 50-27. Lin Feng looked at Fan Yuan and said, "I have something to ask you," said Fan Yuan. Fan Yuan was slightly startled. She didn't know what Lin Feng wanted to ask her. She said, "What can you ask me about? Did the Forgotten City capture someone before?" Lin Feng asked bluntly. Fan Yuan narrowed her eyes at Lin Feng and asked, "Why are you asking this? Could it be that you know those people? It seems like you really did capture some people. Was there a devil cultivator among them?" Lin Feng asked. "That's right. There was a devil cultivator. There were also many cultivators from the 4 great immortal sects," Fan Yuan said indifferently. Hearing Fan Yuan's answer, Lin Feng was almost certain that the Little Rock King had been captured by these people. "Why did you capture them?" Lin Feng asked. Fan Yuan said indifferently, "Because those guys didn't have eyes. They actually dared to run into the depths of the ancient demon desert. Our Forgotten City is about to open up some immortal stone mines, and we're currently lacking manpower. Those guys will start mining soon." Fan Yuan smiled. She then looked at Lin Feng and said, "Your physique is not bad. If you agree to be my male slave, I can let you stay by my side. If you don't agree, I'll just kill you. It seems a bit of a pity. Why don't I send you to the mines too?" Thinking of this, Fan Yuan actually giggled. She was already very charming, and when she giggled, she became even more charming. Lin Feng said, "I've decided to become a live-in son-in-law of the Forgotten City." Fan Yuan sneered. "Are you dreaming?" Lin Feng said. "When I capture you, what's done can't be undone. Won't I be a live-in son-in-law then?" As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng rushed towards Fan Yuan. She saw that Lin Feng actually dared to take the initiative to attack her. A mocking expression appeared on Fan Yuan's face. She had always thought that Lin Feng was an arrow at the end of its flight. He actually dared to take the initiative to attack him. Wasn't he seeking his own death? "Today, I'll let you have a taste of my other divine abilities." Fan Yuan's expression was indifferent. Her hands were constantly changing seals. Ding! Suddenly, an azure dragon appeared on the left side of Fan Yuan. That azure dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws. Its ferocious might shook the heavens and was incomparably terrifying. Roar! Suddenly, A low roar came from Fan Yuan's right. A white tiger condensed on Fan Yuan's right. The white tiger was vivid and lifelike, as if it was the king of beasts. Its might suppressed the heaven and earth, intimidating millions of ferocious beasts. Shriek! A sharp, ear-piercing cry was heard. A vermilion bird condensed in front of Fan Yuan. The vermilion bird was a divine bird, a descendant of the phoenix. Although it was a descendant of the phoenix, its bloodline had undergone a mutation. Therefore, the vermilion bird's talent was not inferior to the phoenix's. The vermilion bird controlled the supreme demonic fire of the world, the vermilion bird divine fire. This was a sacred fire that could rival the phoenix demonic fire. Its power was boundless. At that moment, a huge monster appeared beneath Fan Yuan's feet. It was a black tortoise sacred beast. Its aura was deep, ancient, and powerful. A gigantic python appeared behind Fan Yuan. Upon closer inspection, it wasn't a python, but a blazing serpent. The blazing serpent was one of the 5 sacred beasts. It was extremely powerful. 5 sacred beasts? What kind of ability is this? Lin Feng looked at Fan Yuan and asked. My ability is inherited from the most ancient sacred beast orthodoxy. The ability I'm using now is called the 5 sacred demon subduing technique. Can you feel how powerful it is? Fan Yuan looked at Lin Feng with a smug expression. Clearly, she was very confident in her ability. Lin Feng looked at Fan Yuan and said, You said it yourself? Your ability is called the 5 sacred demon subduing technique, but I'm not a demon. This ability has no effect on me. So, isn't it a waste of energy for you to use this ability now? Fan Yuan's mouth twitched. She knew that Lin Feng was teasing her. Therefore, Fan Yuan was furious. She glared fiercely at Lin Feng and said, I'll show you how powerful my ability is later. 5 sacred demons subduing technique! Fan Yuan shouted. Next, the 5 sacred beasts pounced at Lin Feng. When the 5 sacred beasts' auras combined, the ability was truly terrifying. As expected of a supreme technique passed down by the 5 sacred beasts. There was another important reason why this ability was so powerful. The 5 sacred beasts formed by this ability could cooperate with each other, which was equivalent to a combined ability. It could greatly increase one's battle prowess. This was extremely terrifying. Even Lin Feng was shocked. However, Lin Feng naturally had some powerful methods to deal with Fan Yuan. Lin Feng knew many powerful abilities, such as the Emperor's scriptures, the oblivion of the 3 worlds, the Buddhas of the heavens, and so on. These abilities were all extremely terrifying. However, Lin Feng did not plan to use them. He planned to use the Gate of Everlasting Life as a feint. The reason he wanted to use this ability was because Lin Feng was not very familiar with it. He could use it a few more times during the battle to familiarize himself with it. Lin Feng looked at Fan Yuan and said, Little girl, I'll show you how powerful I am later. Once I capture you, there will be a young married woman in this world. You're courting death. Fan Yuan shouted angrily. Powerful magic power continuously flowed into the 5 sacred beasts. The 5 sacred beasts' battle prowess continued to increase. Fan Yuan was naturally very confident in her own methods. Now, she was thinking about how to torture Lin Feng after capturing Lin Feng to make her feel better. Fan Yuan hated Lin Feng to the core. At that moment, Lin Feng summoned the Door of Everlasting Life. The Door of Everlasting Life floated in the air, releasing a holy qi and strength. The Door of Everlasting Life looked like it had traveled through time. It was difficult to imagine how strong the Door of Everlasting Life was. When Fan Yuan saw Lin Feng summon the Door of Everlasting Life, she couldn't help but frown. She had seen many things, even though she didn't know what the Door of Everlasting Life looked like, she could still sense how terrifying it was. However, even though the Gate of Everlasting Life was very powerful, Fan Yuan was still very confident in her own ability. She believed that her ability would definitely be able to break Lin Feng's ability. At that moment, the Gate of Everlasting Life descended from the sky, suppressing the 5 sacred beasts. Bang! 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 Accompanied by 5 ferocious sounds of collisions, the 5 sacred beasts clashed with the door of everlasting life. Chapter 50:28. The first reason why the door of everlasting life was so powerful was that the door of everlasting life itself was powerful and terrifying. The second reason was that Lin Feng's current combat strength was terrifying enough. With these two factors combined, the power of the door of everlasting life's shadow was naturally incredible. The shadow of the door of everlasting life quickly flew towards Fan Yuan, wanting to kill her. When she saw the shadow of the door of everlasting life flying towards her, Fan Yuan's expression changed slightly. Her magic was so powerful, but now, it was easily broken by Lin Feng. Only now did Fan Yuan realize that Lin Feng had deliberately shown weakness to her in order to lure her out. Fan Yuan quickly flew into the distance. But how could Lin Feng let Fan Yuan go so easily? The shadow of the door of everlasting life continued to chase after Fan Yuan. Under Lin Feng's control, the shadow of the door of everlasting life was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it had caught up with Fan Yuan and suppressed her. Fan Yuan waved her hand. Suddenly, a powerful magic treasure flew out. It was a magic treasure the size of a mountain, surrounded by endless divine power. When the magic treasure flew out quickly, it began to expand. In the blink of an eye, it had become as huge as a mountain. Bang! 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 Then, the magic treasure and the shadow of the door of everlasting life that Lin Feng had summoned collided violently. Every time they collided, it was as if the earth quaked and the mountains shook. The magic treasure was indeed very powerful. It actually blocked the attack of the shadow of the door of everlasting life, which surprised Lin Feng. Of course, he was just a little surprised. Lin Feng could accept all of this. After all, some powerful magic treasures could indeed turn the tide of a battle. Who are you? Fan Yuan looked at Lin Feng with an ugly expression. She had summoned a powerful magic treasure, and still could not break Lin Feng's magic. What if Lin Feng summoned his own magic treasure? Fan Yuan's perception was very strong. She knew that Lin Feng had not entered the true immortal realm. Under the condition that he had not entered the true immortal realm, he was still so terrifying. It was really too unbelievable. In the past, Fan Yuan had always thought that Lin Feng was so strong because Lin Feng had mastered some powerful magic treasures. But now, it seemed that was not the reason. It was possible for someone like Lin Feng to have some powerful magic treasures, but Lin Feng's combat power was not increased by those magic treasures. Instead, it was because he was already extremely powerful. Even if the magic treasure could increase his combat strength, it was only a supplementary effect. If the main body wasn't strong enough, so what if the magic treasure was strong enough? Would those magic treasures be of any use? Obviously, they would not be of any use. Lin Feng smiled. I'm your master, said Lin Feng. You! Fan Yuan's face. Fan Yuan's expression was ugly. She did not say anything else. Instead, she continued to use her magic treasure to resist Lin Feng's door of everlasting life. At that moment, Lin Feng stepped out of the void and punched towards Fan Yuan. Endless demonic light rolled. Lin Feng used the powerful demon ancestor's sacred fist. Behind Lin Feng, the phantom of the demon ancestor appeared. This was the inheritance of the demon lord. It was extremely powerful and terrifying. Now that Lin Feng had used it, Lin Feng showed how terrifying this magic was. Multitasking! Fan Yuan's expression turned even uglier. Actually, when one cultivated to their level, it was not particularly difficult for them to control their magic treasures and use their magic treasures at the same time. However, when doing so, the power of their magic treasures would be greatly reduced. The magic treasures used would also be far less powerful than when they were at their peak. This was because a cultivator's energy was limited. Doing two things at the same time would definitely take up a lot of energy. Unless one mastered the ability to multitask and control their magic treasures and use their magic treasures at the same time. The power of their magic treasures would not be reduced, and the power of their magic treasures would not be reduced. Lin Feng could multitask at most 18 times. Therefore, multitasking was naturally not a problem for Lin Feng. Fan Yuan slapped her palm towards Lin Feng. She wanted to leave quickly, but Lin Feng was holding her back. Therefore, she could not leave and could only fight Lin Feng head-on. Bang! A violent collision sound spread in the air. Fan Yuan and Lin Feng collided and were blown away by the impact. Fan Yuan felt that her magic power had become extremely chaotic. When she circulated her magic power, her meridians emitted a feeling of incomparable pain. Fan Yuan knew that her situation had become extremely bad. The strength of the man in front of her was beyond her imagination. Although Fan Yuan had just entered the true immortal realm, she would not necessarily be at a disadvantage when dealing with some Dao immortal realm cultivators. However, she was defeated by Lin Feng one after another. Fan Yuan was well aware of how powerful Lin Feng was. She was an arrogant person. Before this, she had never been defeated. However, she was defeated by Lin Feng one after another, which made Fan Yuan feel a little discouraged. Not bad, not bad. To be able to resist my attacks for so long, your combat strength is indeed quite amazing, Lin Feng said. He rushed forward and threw another punch at Fan Yuan. Fan Yuan's face was a little pale. She endured the pain in her meridians and circulated her magic power. Once again, she exchanged a blow with Lin Feng. The next moment, the two sides collided. Fan Yuan was sent flying by Lin Feng like a kite with a broken string. Fan Yuan's face became as pale as paper because she found that her magic power had been scattered by Lin Feng. If that's the case, that's bad. Because, under Lin Feng's attack, she would not have any power to resist. No matter what Lin Feng did to her, she would not be able to resist. At this time, the magic treasure that Fan Yuan had taken out, after losing the support of Fan Yuan's magic power, quickly flew back into Fan Yuan's storage ring. Lin Feng rushed in front of Fan Yuan and hugged Fan Yuan, who was falling to the ground. Such a beauty should live elegantly. How could she fall to the ground in such a sorry state? Let go of me! After her small waist was hugged by Lin Feng, Fan Yuan suddenly screamed in horror. She began to struggle. Although Fan Yuan's clothes were more sexy. But in reality, Fan Yuan was a woman who kept her body clean and honest. Naturally, there were many people who pursued her. However, all the people who pursued Fan Yuan were beaten up by Fan Yuan. After Fan Yuan beat them up, she would ridicule her pursuers. She often said, "You can't even beat me, and you still want to pursue me? Go home and cultivate for another 108,000 years." Fan Yuan had never been in contact with a man. Chapter 50-29. After landing on the ground, Lin Feng looked at Fan Yuan with a smile and said, "Now you know how to be afraid? Weren't you very powerful before? That fierce look of yours is still fresh in my memory." Fan Yuan knew that she had to calm down and not lose her composure. If she lost her composure, the situation would be even worse. She took a deep breath and looked at Lin Feng, saying, "I admit that I underestimated your strength. I didn't expect you to be so strong, but you're a man. There's no need to lower yourself to the level of a little woman like me, right?" Lin Feng smiled and said, "I've never seen a little woman over 1.8 meters tall. You should call yourself a Western horse." When she heard the words Western horse, Fan Yuan was a little confused. She didn't understand what it meant, but after carefully thinking about the meaning of Lin Feng's words, she could roughly guess what it meant. Fan Yuan wanted to bite Lin Feng to death. She said speechlessly, "You know what I'm talking about." Lin Feng smiled and said, "Of course I know what you're talking about." He wrapped one hand around Fan Yuan's waist and pinched her chin with the other. He said, "How about being my slave? That's a blessing you've accumulated in your previous life." When her eyes met with Lin Feng's, Fan Yuan felt her heartbeat accelerate for no reason. Although the man in front of her was hateful, his strength and domineering aura had left a deep impression on Fan Yuan. In addition, Lin Feng had a handsome face. A man like this was indeed very lethal to women. Even so, Fan Yuan absolutely couldn't agree to be Lin Feng's slave. This was a matter of dignity. "I'd rather die. I'll never be your slave," Fan Yuan said resolutely. "I can convert you. When the time comes, you'll definitely be very obedient. It should be quite good to have a slave like you by my side," Lin Feng said. Fan Yuan's pretty face became extremely unsightly. She said, "Do you really want a woman who's like a walking corpse by your side? With your cultivation and looks, what kind of woman can't you find? If you want women, countless women will probably throw themselves at you. I don't have the figure or the looks. I'll only embarrass you if I stay by your side." Hearing this, Lin Feng slapped Fan Yuan's perky buttocks 3 times in a row. It was so painful that tears welled up in Fan Yuan's eyes. Her pretty face turned crimson red. She stared at Lin Feng with her big watery eyes. Said Lin Feng, "You're lying through your teeth. Don't you feel guilty?" "I'm not lying, I'm just telling the truth," Fan Yuan replied. "But I think you're very charming. You're qualified to be my slave." Lin Feng, "You're not a man. How dare you force a little woman to be your slave? You're a disgrace to your ancestors." Fan Yuan's Lin Feng, "I want to carry on the family line, you know? The ancestors will definitely agree with me," Lin Feng said. "You can find someone else to carry on the family line," Fan Yuan said. "You should know that the stronger the bloodline, the more difficult it is to give birth to a child. Ordinary women are unable to give birth to my child. You have a mutated bloodline, so maybe you can," Lin Feng said with a smile. "I'm still a child, I don't want to have a baby." Fan Yuan was so scared that she burst into tears. Seeing Fan Yuan crying like a pear blossom in the rain, Lin Feng couldn't help but smile bitterly. Women were indeed women. No matter how powerful a woman was, she was still a woman in essence. And women. In the end, they were fragile. In the end, they would shed tears. Fan Yuan was like that. Lin Feng couldn't help but think, would the Red World Fairy be the same? At the very least, he had never seen it before. In Lin Feng's mind, the celestial master Hong Chen was his first wife. It was just to conquer the Red World Fairy. This was a difficult task. Lin Feng said, "All right, stop crying. I was just joking with you. I'm not interested in you. I want to exchange you for my friend." Hearing Lin Feng say that he was not interested in her, Fan Yuan immediately became happy. Finally, she didn't have to give birth to a baby. However, very quickly, Fan Yuan felt a little jealous in her heart. Because Lin Feng actually said that he was not interested in her. She had the perfect figure and the perfect face. This figure, this real face, would definitely be able to charm a large number of people to death. Was this guy blind? He actually said that he wasn't interested in her? Women were often like this. When others say that they are interested in you, they are all kinds of reserved. When others say that they are not interested in you, they say that they are blind. Lin Feng naturally didn't know what Fan Yuan was thinking. He let go of Fan Yuan and planned to wait for a while before adjusting his state of mind. Furthermore, it was almost night time, so it wouldn't be too late to rest for a day and go to Forgotten City tomorrow. Lin Feng found a place to rest, and Fan Yuan quickly followed him. She had lost all of her mana, and would not be able to recover in a short period of time. The desert was extremely dangerous, and if she did not stay by Lin Feng's side, it might not be long before she died in the desert. Moreover, even if she wanted to escape, she probably wouldn't have the chance to. Lin Feng sat cross-legged. Then, he began to adjust his state of mind. Fan Yuan, on the other hand, sat at the side and looked at Lin Feng. "Who the hell is this guy?" Fan Yuan couldn't help but mutter to herself. Actually, thinking about it carefully, she realized that Lin Feng was quite a good person. Although the words he had said before had scared her quite a bit, it was only to scare her and not do anything out of line. If she were to fall into the hands of another man, would that man let her go? Fan Yuan didn't think so. because Fan Yuan knew how charming she was. The desert at night was colder, completely different from the high temperature during the day. Of course, cultivators were powerful, and the low temperature did not affect them much. Therefore, even though Fan Yuan was wearing less, but she still did not feel cold. The bonfire burned fiercely, and Lin Feng sat in front of it. He found some poisonous scorpions and centipedes in the desert, and then took out some tools and a large piece of meat. Lin Feng cut the meat, and then placed the poisonous scorpions and centipedes inside, and then placed them on an iron plate to roast. Fan Yuan asked, "What are you doing?" Chapter 50-30. After the delicacy was done, Lin Feng cut open the wrapped meat, revealing the centipedes and scorpions inside. Lin Feng ate a scorpion, and his eyes immediately lit up. The taste was better than he had imagined. In fact, this was the first time Lin Feng had made something like this. This attempt was quite successful, which made Lin Feng extremely happy. Fan Yuan could not help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. She rubbed her stomach and said, "I'm hungry too. I want to eat too." After saying that, she ran to Lin Feng's side and sat down next to Lin Feng. She picked up a centipede and stuffed it into her mouth to chew. She nodded vigorously, and her eyes could not help but become extremely bright. "Delicious, delicious," she said vaguely. Then, her hands moved extremely quickly, stuffing centipedes and scorpions into her mouth one after another. Lin Feng said, "You're a prisoner, okay? Have some awareness as a prisoner. Just sit by the side and watch me eat." After interacting with Lin Feng for a while, Fan Yuan had a rough understanding of Lin Feng's character. Lin Feng was not a fierce and cruel person. Instead, he seemed to be kind and upright. This kind of character was naturally rare in the world of cultivators. When Fan Yuan found out that Lin Feng had this kind of character, she even muttered in her heart, "How could a person with this kind of character survive in the world of cultivators where everyone was scheming against each other?" It was really a miracle. Therefore, she knew Lin Feng's character. Fan Yuan was now no longer afraid of Lin Feng. "I'm hungry, of course I want to eat. These are all mine. Don't eat them. Go catch some centipedes, scorpions, and other things like that for me to eat." Fan Yuan was like a tiger fighting for food. She took away a large piece of meat outside, not letting Lin Feng eat the centipedes and scorpions inside. Lin Feng immediately smiled bitterly. What was going on? He seemed to have become Fan Yuan's follower now. A good man doesn't fight with a woman. Lin Feng comforted himself like this. Then, he got up and began to search for poisonous scorpions and centipedes. Fan Yuan, on the other hand, was enjoying the delicious food alone. After enjoying a sumptuous meal, Lin Feng lay on the sand dune and looked at the moon in the sky in a daze. Fan Yuan sat next to Lin Feng. She looked at Lin Feng and said, "Don't worry, your friend will be fine." "Of course, I have no doubts about that," Lin Feng said. "What are you thinking about now?" Fan Yuan asked curiously. She had the feeling that Lin Feng was shrouded in a mysterious veil. At that moment, Fan Yuan really wanted to uncover the mysteries surrounding Lin Feng. Then take a look. What was under this mysterious veil? "I'm thinking a lot of people," said Lin Feng. "For example?" Fan Yuan asked. Lin Feng was silent. "You still can't tell others?" Fan Yuan curled her lips and said. Lin Feng said, "Of course not." Following this, he said, "I'm thinking about my parents, my grandfather, my dead uncle, some of my close friends, my teacher, and the woman who died for me. I'm going to find my close friends, and so on." Fan Yuan said, "You can think about so many people. It seems that your life must be very busy." Lin Feng said, "Yes, it is indeed very busy. I have to make myself stronger. Only then will I be able to do what I want. Only then will I be able to protect them." Hearing Lin Feng's words, Fan Yuan was actually a little touched. The feeling of being protected must be very good, right? She really envied the people he was talking about. "Have you thought about anyone?" Lin Feng asked. "My mother," She is the only person I miss, Fan Yuan said. What happened to her? Lin Feng asked. She passed away, Fan Yuan said. Sorry, I brought up your sad matter, Lin Feng said. It's fine, I'm already used to it, Fan Yuan said. What is the relationship between you and that Feng Wuxi you mentioned? You seem to hate him a lot, Lin Feng asked. Fan Yuan said. He's my half-brother. Why do you hate him when you have such a family relationship? Lin Feng asked. Because he caused my mother's death, Fan Yuan said. That is really a tragedy, but this guy has already been killed by me. I have avenged you. Shouldn't you repay me with your body? Lin Feng said. Fan Yuan turned her head to look at Lin Feng. Her big watery eyes were filled with charm. This woman looked very wild, but if one observed carefully, they would find that this woman actually had a trace of charm in her wildness. He is not dead, Fan Yuan said. Lin Feng asked in surprise. Not dead? It can't be, right? I specially checked his body, and he is indeed dead. Even his soul has dissipated, Fan Yuan said. That guy cultivated some strange cultivation techniques, so he was able to deceive you. Of course, his physical body is indeed dead, but his soul is still here. However, even if his physical body is dead, it's not really dead. As long as his soul is still here, there will be a day when he returns, said Lin Feng. That guy is really lucky, said Lin Feng. Father will help him reverse his destiny, Fan Yuan said. It seems that your father is very powerful, Lin Feng said. He is an immortal, Fan Yuan said. An immortal was a golden immortal. This was because the word golden, in the eyes of cultivators, represented immortality. It was unknown how powerful a golden immortal was. Lin Feng's battle strength had increased greatly, and he had even obtained the epic war spear left behind by his ancestor. However, Lin Feng knew his own limits. Even if he used the epic war spear, he was still not a match for Fan Yuan's father. Why are you telling me this? You can completely hide it from me. When your father makes a move, I will be in a lot of trouble, Lin Feng said. Fan Yuan didn't know why she said all this. However, in her heart, there seemed to be a voice telling Fan Yuan that she had to tell Lin Feng some of the truth about the Forgotten City. Because, this way, Lin Feng would be able to prepare in advance. She didn't want to see Lin Feng die in the Forgotten City. Even though, in the beginning, he hated Lin Feng so much that he gnashed his teeth. But now, it was as if he had another feeling for Lin Feng. It was a feeling that made Fan Yuan's heart beat faster. However, Fan Yuan did not tell Lin Feng what she was thinking. After all, she was a woman and had never experienced feelings before. There were some things that she was naturally embarrassed to say. Chapter 50-31. Lin Feng smiled and said, Thank you so much, but your father is so powerful. If I rashly go there and your father makes a move, I'm worried that I will die miserably. This, Fan Yuan couldn't help but ponder. It was indeed as Lin Feng said. Just like that. Lin Feng might be in trouble. She knew how powerful her father was. I have to think of a foolproof plan, Lin Feng said. He was thinking of a feasible plan, but Lin Feng really couldn't think of a good one. In the face of absolute strength, any act of playing tricks, it was a joke. This point, Lin Feng was extremely clear. Fan Yuan said, I've thought of a way. What way? Lin Feng asked curiously. Fan Yuan's pretty face immediately blushed. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter in his heart. Looking at Fan Yuan's blushing face, she seemed to be shy. What was the method she was talking about? How could it make her so shy? Lin Feng was really puzzled. What method is it? Lin Feng asked again. Fan Yuan said with a red face, Let's go back together. I'll tell father that we don't know each other until we fight. Then we'll like each other. This way, father won't deal with you. You want me to pretend to be your man? Lin Feng exclaimed. Fan Yuan's pretty face immediately turned even redder. She didn't know why she would say such a method. Fan Yuan used to have a lot of suitors, and those suitors kept chattering around her, making Fan Yuan very unhappy. Therefore, Fan Yuan had always been quite disgusted with men, but when she was with Lin Feng, she felt very comfortable. She really couldn't hate Lin Feng. Moreover, in Fan Yuan's heart, it seemed that she still wanted to do something with Lin Feng. Thus, she naturally said such words. Said Lin Feng. That's a good idea, but after all, I destroyed Fang Wushu's physical body. Doesn't your father hate me? If he hates me, then this matter will be difficult to deal with. Fan Yuan said. You don't have to worry about that fellow Fang Wushu. Now that his body has been destroyed, even if he recovers, he won't be as strong as he is now. Father only has me and Fang Wushu, so in the future, one of us will inherit the Forgotten City. The Forgotten City has always been about strength, so there have been some female city lords in history. Apart from having a good background, how can Fang Wushu compare to me? Therefore, you don't need to worry about Fang Wushu. Father knows what to do. The only thing you need to worry about is Fang Wushu's mother's people. I don't know if they will attack you or not, but even if they attack you, don't be afraid. I will protect you. Besides, with your cultivation level, even if you can't defeat them, it won't be difficult for you to leave. Hearing Fan Yuan's words, Lin Feng finally relaxed. Although it was still dangerous to rashly enter the Forgotten City, in order to save the Little Rock King, Lin Feng was not afraid of danger. Good! Then let's do as you say. I just don't know if it will affect your reputation when the time comes. Lin Feng said. Fan Yuan said. It's fine. This way, I can also tell those fellows who have designs on me that I'm already taken, so they shouldn't have any ideas about me in the future. At this point, Fan Yuan's pretty face slightly blushed. In fact, she was somewhat happy that Lin Feng had agreed. Because this meant that Lin Feng believed in her, which was why he agreed. Lin Feng said, I am very willing to be this flower protector. If there are any blind fellows who dare to pester you, I can help you deal with them. All right. Fan Yuan nodded. The next day, Lin Feng and Fan Yuan set off together to return to the Forgotten City. Fan Yuan's FA had already recovered a lot, although it had not completely recovered. However, it shouldn't take long for him to fully recover. When Lin Feng and Fan Yuan arrived at the Forgotten City, the people of the Forgotten City immediately discovered the two of them. It's the young miss who's back. Why did that guy come back with the young miss? This is really strange. Could it be that the young miss has taken him in as a male slave? Many people couldn't help but start to discuss. Quickly open the city gates and welcome the young miss back to the city. The city guard general said. Yes, yes, yes. Then many of the guards said. Just as they were about to open the door, their eyes suddenly widened. In his eyes, it was as if he had seen a ghost. Because those people saw that Lin Feng had actually reached out his hand and wrapped it around Fan Yuan's small waist. Oh my God! What the hell is going on? That guy. He actually dared to hug the young Miss's small waist. Was this a trick to catch him dead? Would the young Miss directly chop him into pieces later? Many people couldn't help but mutter in their hearts. He could feel the warmth of Lin Feng's hand. Fan Yuan's pretty face couldn't help but blush slightly. Being hugged by Lin Feng was a rather special feeling. There seemed to be some joy and some shyness. But there was no disgust. What's wrong with me? Is this still me? Fan Yuan asked herself in her heart. She couldn't even believe it. The current him. He was really the same as before. Lin Feng hugged Fan Yuan's small waist, and then said in a low voice, I don't want to take advantage of you. It's just that by doing this, others will believe that we are in a relationship. I understand. Fan Yuan nodded with a red face. The two of them walked towards the Forgotten City. When they entered the Forgotten City, many of the Forgotten City's guards stood on both sides, looking at the two of them, and then whispering to each other. They naturally knew what kind of personality Fan Yuan had. Now, to actually be hugged by a man like a little bird, it was truly too unbelievable. That man. How did he conquer Fan Yuan? Fan Yuan was the #1 beauty in the Forgotten City, the goddess in the hearts of countless people. Therefore, seeing Fan Yuan being hugged by Lin Feng, many people looked at Lin Feng with envy and jealousy. What ability did this guy have to be able to hug a beauty? Naturally, many people were unconvinced. Fan Yuan's body leaned against Lin Feng's embrace very naturally. She couldn't help but have a thought in her heart. If she and Lin Feng were really in a relationship, how great would that be? When this thought appeared, Fan Yuan couldn't help but be shocked. She didn't know why such a thought would appear in her heart. Chapter 50-32. Looks like you're quite popular, Lin Feng whispered into her ear. The reason he said that was because there was a sea of people along the way, and these people were obviously here to see Fan Yuan. But Lin Feng could see that many people were looking at him angrily. Some of them were looking at Lin Feng with envy, jealousy, and hatred. Obviously, these people were angry because Fan Yuan and Lin Feng were too close. Thus, they were hostile towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng's claim that Fan Yuan was popular was not without reason. Fan Yuan said, "Of course. I'm a goddess. There are naturally many people who are pursuing me, liking me, and secretly admiring me." Fan Yuan's words were not wrong. She was indeed worthy of being called a goddess. Her figure, appearance, talent, and cultivation were all extremely rare. Even compared to the top 10 fairies outside, she was not much worse. Thus, there were naturally countless people who liked her. "Yuan, who is this person?" At that moment, a group of people walked over. The leader of the group, a young man in embroidered clothes, looked at Lin Feng with a gloomy gaze. Lin Feng had heard from Fan Yuan that she had many suitors, and those people annoyed her to no end. The person in front of him should be one of Fan Yuan's suitors. "Can't you see? He's my man," Fan Yuan said indifferently. Then, she leaned her head on Lin Feng's shoulder, looking very loving. "I don't believe it," the young man in embroidered clothes sneered. "Not long ago, you were still chasing after him. In the blink of an eye, you two became lovers? No matter who it is, no one would believe such a thing. You don't believe it? Facts speak louder than words," Lin Feng said. "Yuan, why do you want him to pretend to be your lover? Could it be that you thought of this method to reject my pursuit?" the young man in embroidered clothes said. "Zhang Zichen, you're too self-righteous. There are many people who are pursuing me. There's no need for me to find someone to pretend to be my lover because of your pursuit," Fan Yuan said impatiently. Zhang Zichen said. "Fan Yuan, you don't believe what you're saying, right? Don't you just want to prove that there's nothing between us? I can prove it to you right now and let you know that we really are lovers," Fan Yuan said coldly. The next moment, she took the initiative to kiss Lin Feng's lips. "Oh my God, look! They're actually kissing! They're really a couple! How is this possible? My goddess has fallen just like that! Who the hell is that kid? Wasn't he being hunted down by Fan Yuan? How did he end up with Zhang Yuan in the blink of an eye? What goddess? Goddess my ass. In the end, she'll still become a man's plaything. Don't say that the grapes are sour just because you can't eat them. Everyone has the freedom to pursue love. You can't say something sarcastic just because you can't get Fan Yuan." He saw Lin Feng and Fan Yuan kissing. There was an uproar all around. Everyone was discussing spiritedly. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. There were all kinds of people who said all kinds of things. Naturally, there were also many cultivators who spoke ill of him. "Do you believe me now?" Their lips parted. Fan Yuan looked at Zhang Zichen and said coldly. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. He had actually been ambushed by a beauty like Zhang Yuan. Moreover, he had been ambushed in front of so many people. Seriously. A person was just like their appearance. A wild beauty like Zhang Yuan did things without considering the consequences. Zhang Zichen's expression was extremely unsightly. He looked coldly at Lin Feng and said, "Kid, who do you think you are? Do you think you're worthy of being called Yuan's lover? I challenge you to a duel. The loser will withdraw." Lin Feng was speechless. I won't accept your challenge. You coward! Don't you even have the courage to fight me? Yuan, do you see this guy's character clearly? He doesn't even have the courage to fight me. Do you expect him to protect you when you're in danger in the future? Zhang Zichen said gloomily. Lin Feng said indifferently. I don't want to fight you, not because I'm afraid of you, but because Yuan is my woman now. I don't need to fight you. If you have nothing to do, you can buy a piece of tofu and play with it. Hearing Lin Feng's words, Fan Yuan immediately laughed. Many people also couldn't help but laugh. Lin Feng's words were obviously teasing Zhang Zichen. Zhang Zichen is the son of the Vice City Lord. That kid doesn't know Zhang Zichen's identity. Now that he's envied by Zhang Zichen, he won't have a good ending. Let's just wait and see. A cultivator whispered. Actually, the Forgotten City was not dominated by a single clan. The Forgotten City's Devil Sand clan was divided into 5 major clans. The most powerful clan was Fan Yuan's clan. Her clan had always been the city lord of the Forgotten City. The other 4 clans were also very powerful. Zhang Zichen's Zhang clan was one of the 4 clans. It was a powerful force that no one dared to underestimate. In many people's eyes, Lin Feng was just an outsider to the Forgotten City. Even though Lin Feng's methods were extraordinary, could it be that he could contend against the top forces of the Forgotten City? Obviously. He couldn't. Therefore, everyone was interested to see how this dispute and conflict would end. Brat, if you don't dare to come out and fight with me, then you don't dare to come out and fight with me. Why are you looking for so many excuses? Only a coward would find excuses for himself. Zhang Zichen looked at Lin Feng indifferently. This Zhang Zichen was not a simple person. He had cultivated for 360,000 years. Although he could not be considered a young cultivator. But he could be considered a young cultivator. He had cultivated for such a long time, so his cultivation was naturally extraordinary. He also knew that Lin Feng's cultivation was not weak, but it also depended on who he was compared to. Compared to him, he was far inferior. Lin Feng was not angered by Zhang Zichen's words. With Lin Feng's temperament, he would not be angered by Zhang Zichen's words. He indifferently glanced at Zhang Zichen, then said, Whatever you say, I have no interest in fighting with you. Zhang Zichen, hurry up and get out of the way. Fan Yuan said in a bad mood. Zhang Zichen's face was incomparably gloomy. Being reprimanded by Fan Yuan like this made him feel very embarrassed. However, he did not dare to be angry at Fan Yuan. Firstly, Fan Yuan's status was more honorable than his. Secondly, Fan Yuan's strength was stronger than his. He naturally did not dare to vent his anger on Fan Yuan. Chapter 50-33. You don't have to worry about my affairs. Also, I'm not particularly familiar with you, so don't call me Yuan in the future. This will make the people who love me misunderstand. I don't want to be misunderstood by my lover, Fan Yuan said. Zhang Zichen clenched his fists. His expression was gloomy, and he didn't speak. If it wasn't for Fan Yuan's presence, Zhang Zichen definitely wouldn't be able to suppress the anger in his heart, and would attack Lin Feng. Let's go. Fan Yuan looked at Lin Feng and said. Lin Feng nodded and left with Fan Yuan. The news that Fan Yuan brought Lin Feng back to the Forgotten City had already spread to the city lord's mansion. So, when Lin Feng and Zhang Yuan arrived at the city lord's mansion, outside the city lord's mansion, there were already many people gathered. Basically, they were all from the Fang family. In the distance, there were some cultivators who were watching the show. Fang Wushu's soul body was also among the crowd. When he saw Lin Feng, Fang Wushu's eyes suddenly revealed a dense killing intent. The person Fang Wushu hated the most was Fan Yuan. The person he hated the second was Lin Feng. Originally, Fang Wushu thought that the 2 people he hated the most would inevitably have a fierce battle. In the end, one of them would definitely be killed. Of course, the best case scenario would be that both of them would be injured and die. At the beginning, The battle between Lin Feng and Fan Yuan was indeed quite fierce. This made Fang Wushu very happy. Fang Wushu had been waiting for the news of Lin Feng and Fan Yuan's battle to come back. He really hoped to hear the news of the two's eventual death. However, after waiting for a long time, he heard the news that Lin Feng and Fan Yuan were together. When he heard the news, his first thought was, "How is this possible?" Because Fang Wushu still knew his sister quite well. She didn't have any good attitude towards any man. So many outstanding geniuses pursued her. She didn't agree. Even Fang Wushu felt that his sister shouldn't be interested in men. And Lin Feng was her enemy. Shouldn't the two sides be fighting to the death? How did they become lovers in the blink of an eye? This kind of thing, not to mention Fang Wushu, even the other people in the city lord's mansion did not believe it. Fang Junshan even asked again. The cultivator who came to report the news also had a bitter smile on his face. Then, he told her everything that he had seen. This included some of the intimate actions between Lin Feng and Fan Yuan, as well as some of the words he said during the conflict with Zhang Zichen. Therefore, even if they didn't believe it at first, after hearing these things, they believed that Lin Feng and Fan Yuan were really together. And now, all of this had been verified. Many of the city lord's mansion's people began to whisper to each other. They also found it inconceivable. Fan Yuan was a woman who didn't care about any man. She actually acted so small and delicate in front of Lin Feng. The same thought appeared in everyone's mind. How did that brat conquer Fan Yuan? Wanting to conquer Fan Yuan was no different from an extremely difficult task. At this time, Lin Feng and Fan Yuan arrived in front of the mansion. Fan Yuan said, "Father, this is Ji. Previously, we didn't know each other until we fought. After a great battle, we each discovered that the other party was the person we were looking for, so we got together. What kind of reason is that?" Everyone looked at each other in dismay. A moment ago, they were fighting to the death, and the next moment, they actually fell in love with each other? Was there really such a thing in this world? This brat couldn't have seduced Fan Yuan on purpose. And then he wanted to plot something, right? Many people couldn't help but guess in their hearts. However, they naturally wouldn't say these words out loud, because if they did, they might offend Fan Yuan. "Gee! This is my father, the city lord of Forgotten City." Fan Yuan then introduced her father to Lin Feng. "Uncle." Lin Feng bowed to Fang Junshan. "No need to be so polite," Fang Junshan said. Only then did Lin Feng stand up. At this time, Fang Wushu roared. "Fan Yuan, you clearly know that my body was destroyed by this brat, and I almost died at his hands. I can't live under the same sky with this brat, and our hatred will never end until one of us is dead. Now you've actually gotten together with him? What are you thinking?" Fang Wushu was truly furious. He had imagined that Lin Feng and Fan Yuan would both be seriously injured, and in the end, both of them would die. However, the reality was completely different. This was a huge difference, and Fang Wushu couldn't accept it. "What does it have to do with you who I get together with?" Fan Yuan didn't give Fang Wushu any face at all. Her mother had been killed by Fang Wushu. This was actually a secret, and Fang Wushu didn't know about it. Fan Yuan had never mentioned it either. Fan Yuan hadn't taken revenge yet because she was accumulating strength. The faction behind Fang Wushu was too powerful, and she was still weak. Therefore, she had to continue waiting. She had to wait until she was strong enough, until she had enough power in her hands, then she could talk about taking revenge. Now, they were at odds with each other. The faction behind Fang Wushu wouldn't interfere. Fang Wushu naturally knew that he couldn't explain this to Fan Yuan, so he looked at Fang Junshan and said, "Father, Fan Yuan brought back the enemy who destroyed my body, and now she's saying that he's her lover. Fan Yuan has ulterior motives, and I'm guessing that they've been together for a long time. When I suffered at this brat's hands, it was most likely instigated by Fan Yuan." It had to be said that Fang Wushu's brain worked quite quickly. When Fang Wushu said this, many people frowned and pondered. This kind of thing seemed to be possible. said Lin Feng indifferently. Don't try to ruin our relationship. Your physical body was destroyed because you wanted to kill me. Besides, you also wanted to steal my friend's beauty. But your cultivation level wasn't high enough, so I killed you, said Lin Feng indifferently. Fang Wushu sneered. Brat, do you think my father will believe your words, or mine? Said Fang Yuan coldly. Fang Wushu, that's enough. Don't say that I didn't instigate you. Even if I did, so what? All these years, you've sent people to kill me time and time again, but you've never succeeded. You think you've done it flawlessly, but I already knew it was you. I just didn't say it out loud. If you can find people to kill me, can't I find people to kill you? Fang Yuan, don't slander me. Chapter 50-34. Fang Yuan sneered and said, You know very well whether you did it or not. If you insist on not admitting it, you can let the respectable people in the family search your soul and see if they can find the answer from your memories. Fang Yuan, not only are you slandering me, but you are also a little crazy. Even if we have a small conflict, you don't have to search my soul, right? If there is any change, I will be doomed eternally. What are you planning? Father, do you see? Fang Yuan even harmed her own brother. If she is in power in the future, who knows how many cruel things she will do. Why don't we destroy her cultivation and let her give up all her thoughts? Fang Wushu said. Enough! Shut up! Brother and sister should be united, but the two of you are fighting to the death. This is really disappointing. Moreover, this is outside. Don't you think it's embarrassing enough to fight like this in front of so many people? Fang Junshan said coldly. Then he left. Seeing Fang Junshan angry, the others didn't dare to say anything. Fang Junshan's prestige in the Fang family was extremely high. Even in the Forgotten City. He was also the person with the highest status. The rest of the people kept their mouths shut and walked into the mansion. Brat, just you wait. I won't let you have an easy time. I will make you die miserably. Fang Wushu looked at Lin Feng with hatred and said coldly. After saying these harsh words, Yi Zichen said. Fang Wushu quickly left. Let's go in. Fang Yuan said. Okay. Lin Feng nodded. Then, Lin Feng and Fang Yuan walked in together. The mansion was very large, and it was divided into many different areas. For example, the office area, the cultivation area, the living area, and so on. Fang Yuan brought Lin Feng to the guests' resting area. Although Lin Feng and Fang Yuan were in a relationship in name, in reality it was just a pretense. Of course, even if they were a real couple, he couldn't live with Fang Yuan as soon as he came to her house. At that time, Fang Junshan would probably break his legs. Your friend is imprisoned in the prison. I don't know if he has been sent away or not. Rest here for a while, I will go and ask around. Fang Yuan said. Lin Feng nodded and said, Sorry to trouble you. Don't be polite with me. Fang Yuan looked at Lin Feng with her big watery eyes. 2 hours later, Fang Yuan came back to Lin Feng's room. How's the investigation? Lin Feng asked. Fang Yuan said, I've already made some inquiries. Your friends are still being held in the prison, but they were captured by the Great Elder. The Great Elder is on Fang Wushu's side, so if I want to take them away, the other side will definitely not agree. What we have to do now is to not expose our purpose. If our purpose is exposed, it will be very difficult to take them away. I'll find someone to help me take your friends away from the Great Elder. Hearing Fang Yuan's words, Lin Feng was very happy. He couldn't wait to see the little Peking, but Lin Feng knew that this matter couldn't be rushed. Otherwise, it would be counterproductive. Now, he just had to wait patiently. Fang Junshan's study. Fang Junshan was drinking tea with a few ancestor-level powerhouses. Apart from the ancestor-level powerhouses, the Great Elder was also present. These people were the higher-ups of the Forgotten City's Fang family. Fang Wushu was also present. Fang Wushu said, Father, that Ji guy must have some secret. Fang Yuan is colluding with him, and we don't know what they are planning. We have to be careful. Fang Junshan said. Is that how you talk about your own sister? At this time, the great elder said, City Lord, in fact, I also feel that there's something strange about that kid, but I can't pinpoint exactly what's strange about him. We've all seen how Fan Yuan treated that kid before. Now that she's suddenly on good terms with that kid, there's a lot of suspicious things about this matter. For example, did the two of them really get to know each other through a fight? Was it really after a fight that they fell in love with each other? If that's not the case, then it means that they've been together for a long time, but Fan Yuan said that they've only gotten together now. Why would Fan Yuan lie? When a person lies and weaves a lie, there must be some unspeakable secrets. But what are these unspeakable secrets? Perhaps only the person involved knows. Sometimes we can turn a blind eye to some things, but there are some things that we can't do. This is my opinion. City Lord, what do you think? Fang Junshan smiled indifferently and said, This is the Forgotten City. Do you think that Jijin will do something in the Forgotten City? Unless he doesn't want to live anymore, but I don't think he's that stupid, so your worries are unnecessary. But father... Fang Wushu still wanted to say something. Fang Junshan waved his hand and said, I know what you want to say. I also know some things that you think I don't know. I didn't tell you some things not because I didn't know them, but because I didn't want to explain them too clearly. I hope you understand. As for the enmity between you and Ji, that's between you juniors. After I change your fate, you can deal with it however you want. I won't interfere with you. Alright, go back and rest. You're only left with your soul. Even though you've practiced some secret techniques to prevent your soul from dispersing, you still need to cultivate more. Otherwise, it will harm your soul. Fang Wushu was furious. He knew that his father was secretly on Fan Yuan's side, and that made him furious. However, he did not dare to express the anger and jealousy in his heart. The person in front of him was his father, and he controlled his fate. Yes, I'll take my leave, said Fang Wushu. City Lord, I still have some things to do, so I'll take my leave as well. After Fang Wushu left, the Great Elder also left. Fang Wushu was waiting for the Great Elder outside. When he saw the Great Elder come out, he went to greet him. Said the Great Elder, If you want to get rid of that boy, you don't have to do it yourself. Many people want to get rid of him, such as that boy from the Zhang family. After saying that, the Great Elder floated away. Chapter 50-35. At night, the city lord's mansion hosted a banquet to entertain Lin Feng. Fan Yuan's father, Fang Junshan, also attended the banquet. He was an expert at the gold immortal level. Originally, Lin Feng thought that Fang Junshan would ask him some questions, such as where he was from, who was in his family, and so on. However, Fang Junshan did not ask any of these questions, which made Lin Feng very surprised. Perhaps Fang Junshan had his own thoughts, but he did not know what Fang Junshan was thinking. In fact, even if Fang Junshan asked, Lin Feng was not afraid of being exposed, because he had already thought of an excuse. It was not a problem to bluff his way through. This time, Lin Feng wanted to save the Little Rock King. As long as he could save the Little Rock King, Lin Feng would immediately leave. Therefore, he did not want to have too much involvement with the Forgotten City, nor did he want to have too much conflict with the people of the Forgotten City, especially the people of the city lord's family. The banquet ended. Lin Feng returned to his residence. After a simple wash, Lin Feng went to bed. However, when it was late at night, Lin Feng opened his eyes. When he was outside, Lin Feng had always been more cautious. Even when he was sleeping, Lin Feng would still leave some of his spiritual will to observe the situation outside. Lin Feng's spiritual will sensed that something was wrong. Lin Feng got up and went outside. He saw the moonlight shining down. A beautiful woman in a long silver dress was standing in the courtyard. This beautiful woman looked to be in her 30s. Naturally, she was extremely young. Of course, in the world of cultivators, one could not judge someone's age just based on their appearance. However, no matter what, this beautiful woman in front of him was very charming. Her figure was plump and charming, and her face was extremely beautiful. Moreover, her temperament was rather noble. However, the aloof attitude in her eyes made people feel extremely uncomfortable. Lin Feng did not know this beautiful woman, but since she was able to appear in the city lord's mansion, she must be from the city lord's mansion. Other people would not be able to sneak into the city lord's mansion. "Madam, why are you here in the middle of the night instead of sleeping? If word of this gets out, I'm afraid it will affect my reputation," Lin Feng said. The beautiful woman replied, "It doesn't matter. Even if word gets out, I don't care," Lin Feng replied. "Don't misunderstand, I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about myself. I'm afraid that it'll affect my reputation." After hearing Lin Feng's words, Li Yihong nodded. The corners of the beautiful woman's mouth twitched, and then her eyes turned cold. "You're that Ji?" the beautiful woman said coldly. "That's right, it's me." "Who are you?" Lin Feng asked. "You don't need to know that I'm human. You just need to know that from today onwards you're a cripple." The beautiful woman's voice was ice cold as she walked towards Lin Feng. "Shameless boasting," Lin Feng sneered. "Whether or not I'm boasting shamelessly, you'll know soon enough," the beautiful woman sneered. At this moment, her body suddenly emitted a terrifying aura. That aura shocked Lin Feng. This woman, she was actually a Dao immortal, and a Dao immortal with a very high cultivation level. What a powerful cultivation level! Who was she? How could she be so powerful? The beautiful woman sent a palm strike towards Lin Feng. That terrifying palm strike was extremely powerful. Lin Feng didn't want to continue fighting with the beautiful woman. He wanted to end the battle quickly, so Lin Feng took out the epic war spear. During this time, Lin Feng needed to get used to this treasure. He still couldn't use it like an extension of his arm. However, fortunately, he could already use some of the treasure's power. Lin Feng held the epic war spear and stabbed towards the beautiful woman. The epic war spear's power didn't need to be explained. It was terrifyingly powerful. It was a treasure passed down from the sovereign emperor clan, so it was naturally different. Now that Lin Feng had become one with the spear, he was like a god of war that had descended to the mortal world. The beautiful woman's attack was actually very powerful. When she sent out her palm strike, it even formed a powerful palm intent. The surrounding void seemed to have been confined by the powerful palm intent. Such a terrifying power made one's hair stand on end. However, Lin Feng, who was holding the epic war spear, was fearless. The terrifying spear shattered the void and dispersed the terrifying palm intent. Then, it stabbed towards the beautiful woman's chest. Lin Feng rarely killed women, especially beautiful women. However, it depended on the situation. The woman in front of him was very dangerous, and she was very hostile towards Lin Feng. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't mind killing her. Of course, if he could capture her, it would be a good choice. However, he would have to wait and see. After all, it was still hard to say what the final outcome of this battle would be. The beautiful woman obviously didn't expect Lin Feng to be so powerful. After feeling the power of the spear, her pretty face changed slightly. Just as the spear was about to pierce through her chest, the beautiful woman took out a powerful defensive treasure. It was a golden tortoiseshell. It was unknown what it was. The golden tortoiseshell was placed in front of her, and Lin Feng's spear stabbed towards the golden tortoiseshell. Clang! Following a clanging sound, the golden tortoiseshell blocked Lin Feng's attack. The golden tortoiseshell was indeed a powerful treasure. The beautiful woman retreated, trying to distance herself from Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng followed her like a shadow and stabbed his spear again. This time, the power of the spear was even stronger than before. The beautiful woman still controlled the defensive treasure to block Lin Feng's attack. Clang! 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 After blocking 4 more attacks, the defensive treasure finally couldn't withstand Lin Feng's attack and was destroyed by Lin Feng's spear. Then, Lin Feng swept out with a total annihilation. It was a very ordinary move. However, because Lin Feng's epic war spear was too powerful, the most ordinary move had now become a peerless killer move. Therefore, when Lin Feng swept out with his spear, it immediately formed a terrifying spear light. The aura of the spear light was incomparably terrifying. The beautiful woman also sensed the might of the spear light. She didn't resist it, but chose to retreat. With a ripping sound, the beautiful woman's clothes were torn apart by the spear light. Fortunately, she retreated quickly. Otherwise, she would have been killed. Otherwise, the attack just now was really dangerous. It seems that your cultivation is only SOSO. With this little strength, where did you get the courage to find trouble with me? Chapter 50-36. The beautiful woman's expression was ugly. She was powerful, but the magic treasure in Lin Feng's hands was too powerful. As a result, she was suppressed to the extreme. In fact, the beautiful woman was extremely unconvinced, but what was the use of being unconvinced? Sometimes, magic treasures were also a part of one's strength. So, even if she was unconvinced, she had to be convinced. Lin Feng's attacks were endless, and the beautiful woman was forced into a sorry state by Lin Feng. I originally wanted to kill you, but now it seems that I can capture you alive. It just so happens that I lack a bed warmer at night. I think you can barely be my bed warmer. Lin Feng looked at the beautiful woman and said. Hearing this, the beautiful woman was furious. What kind of social status did she have? At that moment, someone surprisingly dared to say that she was barely qualified to be a maid. Her heart was filled with killing intent. She wished she could cut Lin Feng's corpse into 10,000 pieces. However, she also knew that it was extremely unrealistic to want to kill Lin Feng. Moreover, she was still in an extremely passive state, and her own situation was quite bad. Being able to smoothly escape from Lin Feng was already a very good thing. As for the rest, she didn't dare to hope for anything else. I underestimated you, the beautiful woman said. Yes, so today you will have to pay a price. Lin Feng fiercely scraped the beautiful woman's charming body and face. You're not a good person either, the beautiful woman said coldly. Is that so? I don't think so. I think I'm an extraordinary person, full of justice, Lin Feng said. The war spear in his hand swept towards the beautiful woman once again. That's just what you think. Your eyes betrayed you, the beautiful woman said coldly. This time, she took out a jade talisman to block Lin Feng's attack. When she took out the jade talisman, the beautiful woman had an extremely pained expression. Obviously, that jade talisman should be extremely precious. Otherwise, the beautiful woman wouldn't have such a pained expression on her face. Everyone loves beauty. Even though we're enemies, I have to admit that you're quite pretty. You're barely worthy of my attention, said Lin Feng. Lin Feng said. Shameless to the extreme. The beautiful woman cursed angrily. At the same time, a ball of golden light surged out from the jade talisman. The fluctuations of the golden light were extremely terrifying. That ball of golden light directly sent Lin Feng flying. Fortunately, Lin Feng wasn't injured. I'll remember you. The beautiful woman looked deeply at Lin Feng's eyes, and then rushed outside, and then she disappeared into the darkness. This was the city lord's mansion. Lin Feng wasn't familiar with them. Thus, he didn't chase. Among the people in the city lord's mansion, it seems that only the people on Fang Wushu's side are hostile to me, right? Could it be that the woman just now was from Fang Wushu's side? That's possible. I wonder how she is related to Fang Wushu. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. In fact, tonight's situation had been very dangerous because that woman was a Dao immortal expert. Fortunately, Lin Feng was strong and had a supreme treasure to protect himself. Otherwise, he would have been in danger. Don't let me see you again. Otherwise, I'll definitely catch you. See how I'll deal with you then. Lin Feng couldn't help but say fiercely. Then, he returned to his room to rest. After midnight, he slept very soundly. The next day, Fan Yuan came to Lin Feng's room. Fan Yuan smiled and asked, "How was your rest?" Lin Feng didn't tell her about the woman. He smiled and said, "I rested quite well. Thank you for your concern." Fan Yuan then said, "I've already contacted an elder, and that elder accepted my gift and agreed to help me bring that person out." "Is he reliable?" Lin Feng asked. "That elder is one of the great elder's subordinates," Fan Yuan said. "Fairy, you're quite capable," Lin Feng said. "The world is bustling, and everyone comes for benefits. That's a very reasonable saying. It's applicable at all times," Fan Yuan said. Lin Feng smiled and said, "Indeed." Fan Yuan said, "We just have to wait for a while. I'm sure young master's friend will be out soon. Thank you for your help, Fairy. However, how should I repay your kindness?" Lin Feng looked at Fan Yuan and said. After interacting with her for a while, Lin Feng felt that Fan Yuan was indeed a good person and was worth befriending. Fan Yuan blinked and said, "Last night someone sent me a letter saying that the geniuses of the Forgotten City were having a gathering. They wanted me to bring you along and introduce you to everyone," said Lin Feng. "It's a trap," said Lin Feng. Fan Yuan said, "I can reject them." Lin Feng said, "Why would you reject them? I'm your man now, so how could I embarrass you?" Lin Feng said as he wrapped his arm around Fan Yuan's waist and pulled her into his embrace. Fan Yuan's face instantly became rosy. She didn't know what to do and didn't know why Lin Feng was doing this. However, she didn't reject him. Not bad, not bad. Couples should be like this, so when the time comes, I might have some contact with you because I have no other choice. When the time comes, I hope you won't reject me." Lin Feng smiled and said as he let go of Fan Yuan. Fan Yuan felt a bit disappointed. Lin Feng's sudden attack just now had made her feel like she was in love with him. Fan Yuan thought that Lin Feng was interested in her, but that wasn't the case at all. Fan Yuan didn't show her disappointment. She said, "When the time comes, I'll cooperate with young master and won't expose myself." "That's good." Lin Feng nodded. "I still have some things to take care of, so I'll take my leave first," Fan Yuan said. "All right." Lin Feng nodded. Then he sent Fan Yuan out. After walking out of the courtyard, Fan Yuan took a deep breath. She reached out to touch her face and found that it was a bit hot. "Maybe I can go one step further and turn the fake into the real," Fan Yuan couldn't help but mutter to herself. The corners of her mouth curled into a smile. Then, she walked briskly into the distance with her long legs. Before attending the gathering, Fan Yuan specially dressed up and came to Lin Feng's place. Previously, Fan Yuan had been wearing a short-sleeved shirt and a short skirt made of animal skin. She was as seductive as she could be. But this time, Fan Yuan had changed her clothes. Of course, her dressing style was different from the fairies in the outside world. Fan Yuan did not like to wear long dresses, so this time, Fan Yuan wore a black short-sleeved shirt, revealing her slender waist. As for her lower body, she wore a pair of black leather pants. It was unknown what material they were made of. Lin Feng hadn't seen this kind of dressing style before, but after seeing Fan Yuan dressed like this, Lin Feng's eyes lit up, and his heart seemed to speed up. Fan Yuan's dressing, coupled with her height, completely displayed the advantages of her height and long legs. Her figure was really too good. In addition, Fan Yuan was born extremely beautiful, and her face was as beautiful as a fairy's. Chapter 50-37. The location of the gathering was the largest restaurant in the Forgotten City. This restaurant was called the Moon Goddess Restaurant. The reason why it was called the Moon Goddess Restaurant was because it was said that on the 15th day of the 8th lunar month, one would be able to see fairies dancing on the moon from the top of the restaurant. It sounded a little unbelievable, but it was all true. This was the origin of the Moon Goddess Restaurant. The Moon Goddess Restaurant was shrouded in mystery. A long time had passed, and the Moon Goddess Restaurant had existed until now. In reality, there were crouching tigers and hidden dragons in the Forgotten City. Other than the 5 major forces, there were also some mysterious experts. They might be very low-key, but no one dared to underestimate their cultivation. For example, the current restaurant master of the Moon Goddess restaurant was said to be an extremely terrifying existence. Therefore, no one dared to cause trouble in the Moon Goddess restaurant. Even the direct descendants of the 5 major forces didn't dare to cause trouble in the Moon Goddess restaurant. Lin Feng and Fan Yuan rode a beast carriage to the Moon Goddess restaurant. Although this was a banquet at Hongmen, it was nothing to Lin Feng. In fact, not to mention the Forgotten City, even in the entire Undying Realm, there weren't many people who could threaten Lin Feng. There were basically only 2 kinds of people who could threaten him. The first kind was the Golden Immortal Realm experts, and the second kind was the Saint Immortal Realm experts. Cultivators of other realms, even those of the Tao Immortal Realm, couldn't threaten Lin Feng's life. Only those extremely heaven-defying cultivators who had broken through to the Virtual Immortal Realm or the Tao Immortal Realm could threaten Lin Feng. However, such cultivators were rare. The young geniuses of the Forgotten City were all gathered here. The Moon Immortal Tower became extremely lively as all sorts of beast-drawn carriages and mounts galloped towards the Moon Immortal Tower. Many people gathered outside the Moon Immortal Tower to watch the show. Such a large-scale gathering was rare even in the Forgotten City. The main reason was that no one was able to gather all these geniuses. However, today's gathering was a bit different because everyone wanted to see what kind of person was able to obtain their goddess, Fan Yuan. As the number 1 beauty of the Forgotten City, Fan Yuan had countless suitors. Even though many of them were rejected by Fan Yuan, they still regarded her as their goddess in their hearts. Now that they heard that their goddess had become the woman of a foreign cultivator, these prodigies naturally had mixed feelings in their hearts, and felt very uncomfortable. Some of them were unwilling to accept this and even wanted to find an opportunity to teach Lin Feng a lesson. After Lin Feng and Fan Yuan got down from the beast carriage, they immediately attracted the attention of many people. "Look, they're here." Some cultivators pointed at Lin Feng and Fan Yuan. "Is that guy the foreign cultivator who won the beauty's heart? No wonder Fan Yuan fell in love with him. That brat is so fair and handsome. One look and you can tell that he's a gigolo. This kind of gigolo is very good at coaxing girls, so it's understandable that Fan Yuan fell in love with him." At that moment, a cultivator said in a jealous tone, "That guy is indeed a gigolo. However, it's not necessarily true that he's a gigolo. Earlier, he easily defeated the 10 cultivators who surrounded him. In the battle with Fan Yuan, he even gained a slight advantage. His cultivation must be extremely terrifying." At that moment, a cultivator said. Someone else said, "Didn't you say that he used a powerful magical treasure to be able to do that? If you're not strong enough, even if you have a magical treasure, you won't be able to release its full power. You need to be strong enough to forge iron. This is a principle that has never changed." The cultivator who spoke before said. The others nodded. That was indeed the case. Lin Feng and Fan Yuan ignored the discussions of the cultivators around them and walked toward the Moon Immortal Tower. The Moon Immortal Tower was divided into 5 floors. The first floor was the main hall, the second floor was the ordinary private rooms, the third floor was the VIP private rooms, the fourth floor was the top-notch private rooms, and the fifth floor was the supreme private rooms. There were many private rooms on the second, third, and fourth floors. However, there was only one private room on the 5th floor. The word supreme meant that it was the most supreme. Therefore, there was naturally only one supreme private room. There was also a strict hierarchy in which level these prodigious young masters would gather. For example, the geniuses gathered in the main hall on the 1st floor were all from small clans. The higher the floor, the more prestigious their status was. Of course, if one's cultivation was strong enough to make those top forces pay attention to them, even if one was from a small clan, they would still have the opportunity to enter the supreme private rooms on the highest floor. To put it bluntly, the world of cultivators was a world where one's background was very important. However, the most important thing was still one's strength. After Lin Feng and Fan Yuan entered the Moon Immortal Tower, The main hall on the first floor, which was originally full of people, suddenly quieted down. Many people looked at Lin Feng and Fan Yuan. When everyone saw Fan Yuan's outfit today, their eyes instantly widened. Fan Yuan's legs were long, slender, and straight. Now that she was wearing these leather pants, her long legs were perfectly displayed. She gave off a sexy and enchanting feeling. Many people's hearts instantly burned with a ball of fire. When he saw Lin Feng holding Fan Yuan's slim waist, he was stunned. Many people's eyes were spitting fire. Those were the flames of jealousy. Everyone wished that they could replace Lin Feng. Lin Feng hugged Fan Yuan tightly in his arms and looked at the so-called geniuses around him as if he was demonstrating his power. After seeing Lin Feng's actions, many people wanted to chop Lin Feng into pieces. Our goddess was actually snatched away by you. Even if we killed you 1,000 times, it wouldn't be enough to make up for it. Fan Yuan was also very cooperative with Lin Feng. She snuggled into Lin Feng's arms like a little bird, making many people's hearts bleed. Lin Feng hugged Fan Yuan and arrived at the supreme private room under the envious and jealous gazes of countless people. When he and Fan Yuan arrived at the supreme private room, there were already dozens of cultivators gathered there. These cultivators were not simple people. Basically, they were all from the big clans of the Forgotten City. Although there were a few people who were not from the big clans of the Forgotten City, those cultivators still possessed some extremely terrifying methods and were very powerful. Therefore, they were qualified to enter the supreme private room. Chapter 5038. It was no wonder that those cultivators would reveal such an expression. It was mainly because Fan Yuan's outfit today was too sexy and enchanting. Even though Lin Feng had seen all kinds of beauties. However, when he first saw Fan Yuan dressed like this, he was still stunned. Lin Feng was already like this. What about the others? It was normal for him to be smitten by Fan Yuan. If it was as if nothing had happened, that would be strange. However, very quickly, those people's eyes spat out flames. That was because they saw a large hand placed on Fan Yuan's small waist. The goddess in their hearts. She was snuggling in the arms of a man. Being hugged by that man. This scene made them so jealous that they wanted to vomit blood. Keep the goodies within the family? Even if Fan Yuan wanted to find a man, shouldn't he be looking for a man from Forgotten City? How could he get a man from outside to get Fan Yuan in his hands? So, now, Lin Feng had basically become the public enemy of all the young geniuses of Forgotten City. Fan Wushu was also hiding in the crowd, his pair of cold eyes looking coldly at Lin Feng. If eyes could kill, Lin Feng would have already been cut into pieces by Fan Wushu's gaze. Little sister Yuan, sit here. A female cultivator stood up and waved at Fan Yuan. The female cultivator looked to be about the same age as Fan Yuan. She wasn't short either, about 1.7 meters tall. The woman was 1.7 meters tall, so she was naturally quite tall. She was about the same height as a man who was about 1.85 meters tall. The woman's figure was very voluptuous. Although her appearance couldn't compare to Fan Yuan's, she was still quite beautiful and attracted the attention of many people. She took the initiative to invite Fan Yuan over, so she probably had a good relationship with Fan Yuan. Fan Yuan grabbed Lin Feng's hand and walked towards the woman. Arriving at the woman's side, Fan Yuan said, "Let me introduce you, this big sister is called Yuan Shuiqing, she is a very good sister of mine. This is my lover, his name is Ji. Nice to meet you." Lin Feng cupped his fists and said, "You're being too polite, Prince. I've heard that you're handsome, but now that I've met you, I realize that you're so handsome. No wonder you could steal the heart of our beautiful Yuaner," said Lin Feng. Yuan Shuiqing smiled and said. Lin Feng smiled in response. The other people's faces were a bit unsightly. Those young masters could not help but angrily curse Yuan Shuiqing for siding with outsiders. Wasn't this pushing Fan Yuan to an outsider? Of course, Yuan Shuiqing wasn't a simple person. Even though they were very dissatisfied with Yuan Shuiqing's words, many people didn't dare to criticize Yuan Shuiqing face to face. "Let's take a seat," Fan Yuan said. "Good. Quickly sit down," Yuan Shuiqing said with a smile. The three of them sat down together. "Big Sister Yuan, is this young master your lover?" "Sister Yuan, hurry up and introduce us," a girl who looked to be about 16 or 17 years old said. That girl was indeed young, only 17 years old. Fan Yuan said, "I'm sure everyone has heard about us. His name is Ji, and we didn't know each other until we fought. After the fight, we both felt like we had met someone who understood us, so we fell in love. Wow, what a beautiful love story. So two enemies can resolve their grudges because of love and then walk together." The girl immediately exclaimed in surprise. "That brat's background is suspicious. Perhaps only he knows if he has any ulterior motives," someone said with a sneer. Many people became spirited, and some people started to make trouble. This was a hongmen banquet. Therefore, it was normal for people to make trouble, and Lin Feng was already mentally prepared. Lin Feng smiled faintly and said, "This world isn't as dark as you say it is. One must always be on guard against others." The cultivator continued to sneer. The cultivator who spoke was called Zhou Yu. He was an expert from the Zhou family of the 5 great clans and was very powerful. Moreover, he was one of Fan Yuan's most powerful suitors. Lin Feng said, "If one's heart is dark, then everything will be dark." "Brat, what did you say?" Zhou Yu's expression immediately became ugly. He stood up and looked at Lin Feng indifferently. It seemed like he wanted to attack. "You should be more open-minded. Only then will you be happy," Lin Feng said. "How dare you mock me?" Zhou Yu's eyes were extremely gloomy. "I'm not mocking you, sir. I'm just giving you some advice. If you're more open-minded, you won't have a demonic barrier when you cultivate in the future. If your heart is too dark, it's easy to have a demonic barrier," Lin Feng said indifferently. "How dare you curse me? Are you courting death?" Zhou Yu said with a gloomy expression. "It's bad for the body to be angry. Why are you so angry? We're just casually talking, there's no need to be hostile," Lin Feng said calmly. "What? Are you scared now?" Zhou Yu looked at Lin Feng mockingly. Obviously, Zhou Yu thought that Lin Feng was scared, so he didn't dare to confront him directly. However, Zhou Yu didn't want to give up so easily. He wanted to humiliate Lin Feng. He wanted to let Fan Yuan know. Lin Feng was far from being comparable to Zhou Yu. Maybe he would be able to win the heart of the beauty. Lin Feng said, "I'm not scared, I just don't want to continue arguing with you. In my opinion, this is unnecessary, and it's not why I'm here. I just want to tell you that Fan Yuan is my woman. In the future you can give up and stop having any ideas about her." Hearing Lin Feng's domineering declaration, Fan Yuan's heart was filled with sweetness. However, when she thought about how she and Lin Feng weren't really a couple, she felt a little disappointed. If only they were real, how great would that be? "Brat, have you asked us about this?" Zhou Yu sneered. Lin Feng was speechless. "Do I need to ask for your opinion about the matter between Fan Yuan and me? Who do you think you are? What a joke! You dare to make fun of me? You don't know what's good for you. If it wasn't for Fan Yuan, I would have already trampled you under my feet." Zhou Yu looked at Lin Feng indifferently. His words were filled with contempt and disdain for Lin Feng. Lin Feng shook his head and said, "The ignorant are fearless. Since you're so self-righteous, come out and fight with me. Let's see if I can trample you under my feet." Zhou Yu continued to provoke Lin Feng. "I refuse," Lin Feng said. After hearing Lin Feng's words, the crowd went into an uproar. Lin Feng had actually refused Zhou Yu's challenge. Chapter 5039. Zhang Zichen said, "This brat is a complete coward. He definitely won't accept the challenge. I've already tested him before." Everyone looked at Zhang Zichen, and many people began to talk in private. Some people had heard that when Lin Feng had first entered the Forgotten City, Zhang Zichen had provoked Lin Feng. Some people hadn't heard about it, but after some discussion, they all knew that this brat had been provoked by Zhang Zichen. Previously, everyone had thought that Lin Feng was a coward, so he didn't dare to accept the challenge. Now, they could confirm this point. Therefore, they couldn't help but look at Lin Feng with disdain. Even Yun Shuiqing, who was standing beside Fan Yuan, had a puzzled expression. If Lin Feng was really such a coward, then how did Fan Yuan fall for Lin Feng? Could it be that it was true that Lin Feng had used flowery words to coax Fan Yuan? In addition, Lin Feng was indeed quite handsome. If he could talk, then it would be easy for him to win the hearts of girls. This was something that was worthy of affirmation. Fan Yuan, did you see that? This brat's true colors are quite despicable. This kind of person isn't worth trusting, Zhou Yu said. Said Zhou Yu. He wanted to attack Lin Feng even more. Fan Yuan said, "What does it have to do with you who I like?" Hearing Fan Yuan's words, Zhou Yu's face turned ashen with anger. Lin Feng said, "Why do you all want to interfere with other people's relationships? Everyone is an individual, and no one has the right to interfere with other people's relationships. Therefore, I hope that everyone can understand this. Brat, we just don't want to see a piece of trash like you delay Fan Yuan." Zhang Zichen sneered. "Yeah, a coward like you isn't worthy of Fan Yuan. You should withdraw as soon as possible so that you don't humiliate yourself." One cultivator after another sneered. They were all targeting Lin Feng, but Lin Feng was unmoved. Fang Wushu, who was hiding in the crowd, sneered when he saw this scene. This gathering was organized by Fang Wushu after he found Zhang Zichen and the other prodigies. Their goal was to target Lin Feng. Fang Wushu hated Lin Feng and Fan Yuan to the bone. Now, he had no way to deal with Fan Yuan, but he had a way to deal with Lin Feng. If he could kill Lin Feng, it would be a huge blow to Fan Yuan's reputation. Therefore, Fang Wushu was very enthusiastic about this matter, and the result was developing in the direction Fang Wushu expected. Even if a person was a coward, he still wanted to save face, right? Therefore, Fang Wushu felt that after being humiliated by so many people, Lin Feng would definitely fight back. As long as Lin Feng dared to fight back, Lin Feng would be miserable. Fang Wushu was waiting for Lin Feng to fight back. Thinking about how Lin Feng would be humiliated by the top geniuses of the Forgotten City, Fang Wushu was so excited that his whole body trembled. Some people only have one mouth. They talk about how powerful they are all day long, but when they really fight, they discover that they are just trash. I have seen such people when I was young, but I haven't seen such trash for many years. I didn't expect to see so many of them here today, Lin Yun said. Lin Yun's eyes were filled with a cold light as he looked at Lin Yun. Lin Feng said indifferently, "Boy, who are you calling a waste?" A group of cultivators who were targeting Lin Feng were stunned, and then looked at Lin Feng angrily. Before, they had humiliated Lin Feng and said all kinds of unpleasant things, including that Lin Feng was a waste, but now, Lin Feng dared to call them waste. In these people's eyes, it was natural for them to mock Lin Feng as a waste and a coward, because they had the advantage in numbers. How could Lin Feng dare to resist? If he dared to resist, they would be able to deal with Lin Feng in any way they wanted. If Lin Feng didn't dare to resist, he should just silently endure the humiliation. But what did Lin Feng do? He actually dared to call them trash. This was a group ridicule. The so-called group ridicule meant to ridicule a group of people. One person ridiculing a group of people, he was really bold. "I said that you are all waste, can't you understand such simple words?" Lin Feng looked very speechless. Shock, emotion, disbelief, anger, killing intent, monstrous anger, all kinds of emotions, all kinds of expressions appeared on the cultivators' faces. Fang Wushu, on the other hand, looked extremely excited. Fang Wushu found that the development of the situation was exactly as he had expected. Sure enough, Lin Feng couldn't hold back the anger in his heart, and started to resist. The only thing that was different from Fang Wushu's guess was that Fan Wushu thought that Lin Feng would only mock a few people. However, the reality was that Lin Feng had turned on the group ridicule mode. Could it be that he was so angry that he had completely lost his mind and turned on the group ridicule mode? The group ridicule mode was good. The group ridicule mode was completely a way to catch someone dead. Now Fan Wushu couldn't wait to see Lin Feng being humiliated by a group of people. Yuan Shuqing, who was beside Fan Yuan, frowned slightly. Lin Feng had finally started to fight back, but his counterattack had offended a group of people. This was bad luck. Could it be that he wanted to use Fan Yuan's reputation to go against these people? If Fan Yuan stepped forward and protected Lin Feng, in Yuan Shuiqing's opinion, they might not be able to do anything to Lin Feng. Yuan Shuiqing also thought that way. He felt that Lin Feng would definitely ask Fan Yuan for help. He didn't have the ability, but he wanted to offend so many people and then beg his woman for mercy. Now Yuan Shuiqing looked at Lin Feng with a trace of disdain. "Boy, you dare to humiliate me? Eat my fist." At that moment, a cultivator stood up and walked towards Lin Feng. That cultivator was called Sun Dongqing. He was a direct descendant of the Sun family of one of the 5 major factions. His cultivation was extraordinary. Among the young cultivators of Forgotten City, he could at least be ranked in the top 20. Such a person could naturally be called a top genius. Sun Dongqing punched towards Lin Feng. That terrifying punch contained a terrifying power that could destroy heaven and earth. Everyone looked at Lin Feng with contempt. In their opinion, Lin Feng naturally couldn't resist Sun Dongqing's punch. Piss off. Lin Feng looked coldly at Sun Dongqing. He waved his sleeve. An invisible force surged out. Bang! That invisible force fiercely bombarded Sun Dongqing's body. Sun Dongqing. It was as if he had been struck by lightning. His body flew backwards. Wow! Chapter 50-40. Sun Dongqing's body smashed through the door of the Supreme Treasure Box, then broke through the railings of the 5th floor. He fell into the main hall on the 1st floor. His body twitched a few times, then stopped moving. Isn't that Sun Dongqing? Why was he thrown out? Sun Dongqing has 7 or 8 broken bones. He's seriously injured. Who did that? How did he injure Sun Dongqing like that? There must have been a fight upstairs. I wonder what's going on upstairs. Let's go up and take a look. The cultivators below started discussing spiritedly. They quickly rushed up. Inside the Supreme Box, many people looked at each other in dismay. They couldn't believe their eyes. Sun Dongqing. He was one of the top 20 geniuses of the Forgotten City, but he hadn't even been able to resist one of Lin Feng's attacks. That was unbelievable. Even if Zhang Zichen and Zhou Yu were able to defeat Sun Dongqing, they would still need to fight a fierce battle before they could do so. How is that possible? Fan Wushu couldn't believe his eyes. He couldn't believe that Lin Feng was so strong. Before, he had thought that Lin Feng was relying on some magical treasures to be so strong. But even if he relied on magical treasures, it would still be difficult for him to defeat the top geniuses of the Forgotten City. But now, Fan Wushu realized that his previous thoughts were completely wrong. Lin Feng was unimaginably strong. Yuan Shuiqing, who was standing next to Fan Yuan, was also astonished. His pink, sexy lips parted slightly. His face was full of disbelief. Lin Feng. He had actually displayed such a tyrannical combat strength. That was unimaginably terrifying. Yuan Shuiqing finally understood why Lin Feng hadn't wanted to fight before. It wasn't because he didn't dare. It was because he didn't want to fight. These people were indeed not qualified for Lin Feng to make a move. Among all the people present, perhaps only Fan Yuan, who possessed a mutated bloodline, could fight with Lin Feng. Thinking of how his best friend, Fan Yuan, had always been displeased with men, but was now on good terms with Lin Feng, Yuan Shuiqing suddenly thought of another possibility. Could it be that during the battle between Lin Feng and Fan Yuan was defeated? Fan Yuan had once said to her pursuers, "If you can't even defeat me, how dare you pursue me?" From this sentence, it was clear that if he wanted to pursue Fan Yuan, he had to at least have the ability to defeat Fan Yuan. If he did not even have the ability to defeat Fan Yuan and still wanted to pursue Fan Yuan would definitely not agree. Others might not understand how powerful Fan Yuan's combat power was, but as Fan Yuan's best friend, Yuan Shuiqing understood very well. If Lin Feng could really defeat Fan Yuan, then it would be too terrifying. This man. Powerful. However, he kept a low profile. However, if others provoked him, he would become like a god or a devil, incomparably domineering. He was really a powerful man shrouded in countless mysterious veils. Even Yuan Shuiqing couldn't help but be curious about Lin Feng. Although Yuan Shuiqing knew that as Fan Yuan's best friend, she shouldn't be curious about Fan Yuan's man. Because this was a very dangerous thing to do. And it would be unfair to Fan Yuan. However, Lin Feng's body seemed to have a terrifying magic power. And that magic power. It was attracting Yuan Shuiqing. It made Yuan Shuiqing, this voluptuous and charming beauty, unable to help but want to get in touch and understand Lin Feng. Of course. Lin Feng didn't know what Yuan Shuiqing was thinking, and he didn't notice the various changes in Yuan Shuiqing's expression. Lin Feng originally wanted to keep a low profile. After saving Little Rock King, he directly left. However, these guys in front of him kept jumping around Lin Feng as if they didn't know what was good for them. Lin Feng naturally didn't mind teaching them a lesson. As for Zhang Zichen, Zhou Yu, and the others, their expressions were incomparably ugly. Although they thought that they were very strong. However, the scene of Lin Feng heavily injuring Sun Dongqing with a casual strike just now had completely shocked them. It made them not dare to act rashly. The group of people all had extremely bitter expressions on their faces. Now, they were in a difficult situation. I'm a person who hates trouble the most. If I don't bully others, others should be thankful. How dare someone bully me? It's really ridiculous. I was too lazy to care about you guys before, not because I was afraid of you guys. Trash like you guys really can't enter my eyes, and I'm too lazy to care so much about you guys. Now let me tell you one more thing, Fan Yuan is my woman, so stay away from her in the future. Lin Feng said coldly. The group of people hurriedly nodded. Including Zhang Zichen, Zhou Yu also hurriedly nodded. Although they wanted nothing more than to cut Lin Feng into 1,000 pieces and tear him to pieces, Lin Feng's powerful strength deterred them. Now that the situation was pressing, they naturally didn't dare to do anything out of line. As the saying goes, the hunter will shoot the bird that sticks out. This principle was very clear to Zhang Zichen and Zhou Yu. Let's hurry up and leave, someone whispered. They didn't dare to stay here any longer. They just wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. The cultivators who had targeted Lin Feng naturally had the same idea, so they wanted to leave as soon as possible. The cultivators who had been watching the show before didn't have any intention of leaving. Instead, they watched everything unfold in front of them with great interest. In any case, no matter what happened, they wouldn't be implicated because they were just a group of spectators. Did I say you could leave? Just as the group of people was about to leave, Lin Feng suddenly spoke. Now, Lin Feng's voice was like the voice of a demon. After hearing Lin Feng's voice, the group of people immediately stopped. They wanted to leave as soon as possible, but their legs didn't seem to listen to them. What else do you want? Zhou Yu asked with a gloomy expression. Crawl out, Lin Feng said. What? You want us to crawl out? The group of people's faces were filled with anger. If they crawled out, it would be too humiliating. After all, they were all reputable figures. How could they crawl out? If they crawled out, wouldn't they become a laughing stock in the future? Therefore, this was something they could not accept. Or you could end up like that guy from before and get beaten half to death by me, Lin Feng added. In truth, Lin Feng wanted these people to crawl out because he wanted to destroy their Dao hearts. After Lin Feng left, these people would definitely hate Fan Yuan because of him. Fan Yuan was already having a hard time in the city lord's mansion. If more enemies appeared, the situation would be even worse. These people were all people with outstanding talent. If someone rose up in the future, Fan Yuan would be in trouble. If their Tao heart was broken, they would die. Chapter 50-41. As a result, their threat to Fan Yuan had been reduced to the lowest point. Treat the enemy. Don't be merciful. Because, when you are merciful to your enemy, you might be laying the groundwork for the tragedy that your family, friends, lovers, and so on might experience. And Lin Feng wanted to completely prevent this kind of tragedy from happening. You've gone too far, Zhang Zichen said coldly. As a top genius of the Forgotten City, he naturally couldn't do what Lin Feng said. This is the Forgotten City. Don't think that we're really afraid of you, Zhou Yu also said coldly. We don't want to attack you together. Otherwise, do you think you can still sit there and talk to us? The third cultivator said. The rest of the people also shouted at the same time. They were all incomparably angry. Lin Feng was simply humiliating them. This kind of humiliation almost drove them crazy. At the same time, it made them incomparably angry. I gave you face, but you didn't want it, Lin Feng said indifferently. His tone was still as calm as ever, as if he was talking about something very ordinary. When the cultivators who came to watch the show saw this scene, they couldn't help but discuss. Lin Feng was really arrogant. He was facing a group of experts alone and was still so arrogant. This was the first time they had seen such a person. Did he really think that the geniuses of the Forgotten City were undeserving of their reputation? The cultivators of the Forgotten City naturally knew about Zhang Zichen and the others. Of course, they weren't undeserving of their reputation. These people were extremely powerful. For example, Zhang Zichen and Zhou Yu's battle strength were extremely terrifying. They both had the battle strength to fight against virtual immortals. Attack together and destroy this brat, Zhou Yu said in a deep voice. He took the lead and rushed towards Lin Feng. Among the rest of the people, a dozen or so cultivators rushed towards Lin Feng. The rest didn't move. They were quietly watching the situation. If the situation was better than expected, they would make a move. If Lin Feng was too difficult to deal with, they didn't plan to make a move. Even ants drag out their lives, but you guys actually took the initiative to court death. Could it be that you're not as smart as ants? Lin Feng said indifferently. After hearing Lin Feng's words, many people couldn't help but smile bitterly. In Lin Feng's eyes, Zhou Yu and the others were actually worse than ants. He really didn't put Zhou Yu and the others in his eyes. No matter what, Zhou Yu and the others were a group of top geniuses. Many people thought that Lin Feng was going to pay for his arrogance. In their eyes, Lin Feng was indeed very strong. However, he was still far from being strong enough to ignore the siege of a group of top-notch geniuses. At that moment, Lin Feng was really ignoring those young geniuses. His words were full of disdain and contempt. As the saying goes, even a lion needs to go all out to catch a rabbit. Not to mention dealing with this group of geniuses. Brat, you're too arrogant. Zhou Yu's expression was indifferent. His eyes flashed with killing intent. His terrifying palm shot towards Lin Feng. Just as the palm was about to hit Lin Feng made his move. Lin Feng still raised his right hand. He suddenly waved his sleeve. An invisible force surged out. Bang! Following the violent collision, everyone saw that Zhou Yu was sent flying by an invisible force. In midair, he spat out a mouthful of blood. As for the others, they were also sent flying by the terrifying invisible force. Their faces were pale. Thump! 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 The group of people all fell to the ground. Their bodies twitched violently. Then, they stopped moving completely. The sound of people inhaling cold air could be heard. Lin Feng's attack had shocked them far more than when Lin Feng had injured Sun Dongqing. Although Sun Dongqing was strong, she was only one person. Lin Feng had just made a move, but he had already sent a group of people, including Zhou Yu, flying. That was the fundamental difference. Lin Feng was much stronger than they had imagined. Why is it like this? Why is it like this? Why is he so strong? Fang Wushu's eyes were filled with madness. At that moment, Fang Wushu was filled with jealousy towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng's strength had ignited the fire of jealousy in his heart. Fang Wushu wanted to be as strong as Lin Feng. However, he couldn't do that. Now that his body had been destroyed, he needed to reverse the heavenly tribulation to return. When he returned from the reincarnation tribulation, his talent would most likely decline significantly. His future was bleak. When he thought of how strong Lin Feng was, Fang Wushu became even more jealous of Lin Feng. What an amazing man! You're so handsome, young master. I wonder if I'll have a chance to get to know him. I really want to talk to him about romance. Even if it's just a brief relationship, I'm willing. Some of the female cultivators who were watching the show whispered to each other. Lin Feng was like a deadly poison that attracted their attention. Although they knew about Lin Feng's relationship with Fang Yuan, they still had many ideas about Lin Feng. After all, how could there be a cat that didn't want to steal fish? Those female cultivators were quite good at dealing with men. Therefore, some of the female cultivators started having some dirty thoughts. What about you? What's your choice? Lin Feng looked at Zhang Zichen and the others. Their expressions were as unsightly as they could be. They were all filled with hatred. However, Lin Feng's methods were really terrifying. They didn't dare resist Lin Feng. I'll crawl out. Finally, one of the cultivators couldn't hold on under Lin Feng's powerful pressure and immediately shouted. Then, he knelt on the ground with a thump. Then he crawled out. If there was one, there would be two. Then, the second cultivator also knelt on the ground and crawled out. If there were two, there would be three. One cultivator after another knelt on the ground and crawled out. Seeing such a scene, everyone had a shocked expression. They were a group of top geniuses. Now, they were forced to this extent. What about you? Lin Feng looked at Zhang Zichen, and a cold smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. That guy was the first one who had dared to provoke him. Zhang Zichen also saw Lin Feng's cold smile. His heart trembled. Zhang Zichen knew that Lin Feng wanted to kill him. Zhang Zichen didn't dare hesitate and quickly knelt on the ground. He said, I choose to crawl out as well. As soon as he finished speaking. Chapter 50-42. Zhang Zichen is one of the top 10 or even top 5 geniuses, but he's crawling out on his knees. Seeing Zhang Zichen crawling out, some of the cultivators there exclaimed. However, there was a hint of schadenfreude in their voices. There might not be any enmity between these cultivators, but it was naturally quite a joyous thing to see others suffer. There were few people in the world who would help others in times of need, but there were many who would hit someone when they were down. Zhang Zichen's choice isn't strange. After all, Zhou Yu, who's as famous as him, couldn't even take a single move from that young noble. Zhang Zichen was the first to provoke that young noble. He was lucky that the young noble didn't make a move before, but now that the young noble has made a move, Zhang Zichen, as the first to provoke him, won't have a good ending if he dares to resist. Thus, Zhang Zichen's choice is the best one. A cultivator continued. I'm afraid this will affect his Dao heart in the future. Another cultivator said. If one's willpower is strong enough, they'll be able to dispel the negative effects. Moreover, crawling out on their knees is much better than those cultivators who were thrown out. I observed those cultivators just now. Their injuries aren't light, and they seem to have damaged their Dao essences. Those are very difficult to heal. I'm afraid their cultivation careers are over. Another cultivator said. Zhang Zichen naturally heard the discussions. At this moment, he lowered his head and his eyes were bloodshot. His heart was filled with hatred. He wanted to eat Lin Feng's flesh and drink Lin Feng's blood. But now, the most important thing was to get out of this predicament. After that, it wouldn't be too late to think of a way to deal with Lin Feng. Zhang Zichen was a person who knew how to endure. If he didn't know how to endure. When Zhou Yu attacked just now, Zhang Zichen and Zhou Yu attacked Lin Feng together, but Zhang Zichen didn't do so. This was enough to explain a lot of things. In the end, Zhang Zichen and the other group crawled out. They didn't stay and quickly left. At this moment, Fang Wushu also needed to escape. In fact, Lin Feng had already seen Fang Wushu. Lin Feng guessed. Today's Hongmen banquet was related to Fang Wushu. Seeing that Fang Wushu wanted to sneak away secretly, Lin Feng's mouth revealed a faint smile. Brother-in-law, you're here too. I didn't see you just now, I'm really sorry, Lin Feng said with a smile. Damn, you're even calling him brother-in-law? Could it be that Fang Yuan has already become someone's wife? After hearing Lin Feng call Fang Wushu, many people wailed in their hearts. They felt as if their hearts were bleeding. Their goddess. Just like that. She became a married woman. They couldn't accept this fact. But what could they couldn't accept of it? Of the love together offs doing something? That was their freedom. Was there? Her of s. In. She. Of her she's of sas's of her of her of. But when she. The she's of the she s. Of love she would also show her gentleness and shyness. Just like how Fang Yuan was acting now. Many people saw Fang Yuan's blushing face and knew that Fang Yuan had completely fallen in love. Others didn't seem to have any chance. Yuan Shuiqing, who was at the side, suddenly felt jealous of Fang Yuan. It was true that she was Fang Yuan's best friend. Best friends, to put it nicely, were good sisters. This made sense. But best friends often competed with each other. For example, comparing looks, figure, family background, men, etc. Although Yuan Shuiqing's family background wasn't as good as Fang Yuan's, her family background wasn't bad either. Her grandfather was one of the 4 vice city lords of Forgotten City. In terms of figure, she and Fang Yuan weren't of the same type of beauty. Yuan Shuiqing was naturally very confident in her figure. Compared to face, Fang Yuan was indeed beautiful. But she, Yuan Shuiqing, was also very pretty. Her cultivation might be a bit worse than Fang Yuan, but Yuan Shuiqing's cultivation was actually very strong. However, Yuan Shuiqing felt that she was gentler than Fang Yuan. This kind of personality seemed to be more likable to men. Therefore, Yuan Shuiqing didn't think that she was worse than Fang Yuan. Having confidence was naturally a better thing. And Yuan Shuiqing. She was a woman who was rather confident. But why? Why couldn't she meet a man like Lin Feng? This was where Yuan Shuiqing was jealous of Fang Yuan. Fang Wushu's face couldn't help but reveal a bitter smile. He wanted to sneak away, but now he couldn't do it. Although he hated Lin Feng very much, Fang Wushu didn't dare to show his thoughts now. He tried to make himself look more natural. However, when facing Lin Feng, he still couldn't control his body. His legs were trembling slightly. Fang Wushu had lost his body, and the ins and outs of this matter had also spread out in the Forgotten City. Many people knew that Fang Wushu losing his physical body seemed to be Lin Feng's doing. And everyone also knew that the relationship between Fang Wushu and Fang Yuan was extremely bad. There was no sibling relationship at all. There was only hostility and hatred. As Fang Yuan's man, Lin Feng calling himself Fang Wushu was somewhat thought-provoking. Fang Wushu came to Lin Feng's side and asked, "Why did you stop me?" Lin Feng stood up and patted Fang Wushu's shoulder, then said in surprise, "I've heard that brother-in-law's soul techniques are extraordinary. Now that I've seen it for myself, it's really amazing. Brother-in-law's body is just like a real body." Fang Wushu took a step back and looked at Lin Feng vigilantly. Lin Feng said, "Actually, it's nothing. I just wanted to tell brother-in-law that since you've lost your physical body, you should go back and properly recuperate. Don't wander around outside, it's not good for your soul source." "I understand. I'll go back now," Fang Wushu said, then left as if he was escaping. Fang Yuan frowned slightly, then a pensive look appeared on her face. That was because she felt that when Lin Feng had patted Fang Wushu's shoulder, there was something strange about it. Lin Feng seemed to have done something to Fang Wushu's body. However, Fang Yuan couldn't tell what exactly Lin Feng had done. Young friend, I wonder if you can come over for a chat? At that moment, a voice rang out in Lin Feng's mind. Lin Feng saw that everyone else's expressions were normal. It seemed that they hadn't noticed that this person was transmitting a message to him through divine sense. What an amazing method! You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.